Okay. So I was going back through and editing, and it was like fucking impossible to pick out the different stories. It took me forever. So I'm just gonna local record each one individually, because I normally record the entire stream. So I'm just gonna break them apart when I start, and then I can just pull the pieces up. Because I have so many tangents, it's like impossible to keep track of. I spent so much time on that. So I'm just gonna make it easier on myself. This is not story. This is chapter 8. Let's go. Now that I'm gonna actually break them up, and then I'll have all of them for you guys. Bro yaps too much. I'm trying to give feedback. And then between the feedback I'm trying to give and interacting with chat, 10 minutes turns into 2 hours, which is a good thing. That's content, right? And if people don't feel like they're engaged, what's the point of being here, right? At least that's how I think about it. Alright, so this is not story. Chapter 8, A Hero. Pain. It's the first thing I felt when I clawed my way back to the land of the living. My whole body felt like it had been folded, microwaved, and then mailed back in pieces. Breathing hurt. Blinking hurt, even thinking hurt. So, business as usual. My eyelids dragged open like molasses. Pale lighting, steady beeping. A weird antiseptic tang in the air that didn't smell quite like a hospital, but definitely not like home either. Didn't recognize the room. White ceiling and faint hum of hidden machines. Tried to shift. Mistake. My ribs screamed in protest. My arm was wrapped tighter than an overachieving mummy. My head spun like I was still mid-fight. Still alive, though, so go me. Then I noticed the figures in the room. The one thing I am so bad at, Dnaught, is transitions. So, because I'm really bad at transitions, I try to notice them more so I can learn from them. So for instance, order of operations. Using character action as a transition state. So, for instance, instead of having like blinking up here, or even like having blinking up there, have something like him trying to move his eyes or something like that, or trying to move his head. Because it's like you reference his head spinning, but maybe try to say he like tries to move his head, and in moving his head, he notices the figures. Because this feels like a missed opportunity to capitalize on character movement through transition. And it's something I miss out on. So I was like, oh, this is a perfect point to say, maybe talking, because you talked about blinking up here, so maybe reference back to it with his head, saying like, I moved my eyes slightly as I tried to move my head, and then I noticed them, or something, you know. But use that character action to move to the next state, right? It just super hits. Because it's like, it's almost there, like you were doing it with the moving of his head, or like his head spinning, right? But just a little more emphasis on it, and I think that goes like super hard, right? Yeah, that's the thing, like small tweaks make like all of the difference. To my right, slumped half over the bed with their head resting near my wrapped hand, was Kira. Their leafy green hair was ruffled, curls whittled like they hadn't been watered in days, and a binder peeked out beneath a jacket. Jacket I'd seen them steal from my closet once. And one thing I would say about earlier with Kira is maybe in, like, emphasizing more that they're, like, a plant person to, like, solidify the pronoun. Because I like the pronoun kind of carries it, but I feel like the pronoun should be in the back instead of like the pronoun should be a remembrance of the state of this character, you know? And that should be like an important, because I'm guessing that's going to come back to an important part about this character, right? Like maybe something to do with connections or something like that. I'm guessing the fact that they're like a tree person makes it so like procreation and like a love interest would probably be pretty hard for this character if they're like non-binary and in like a medical sense of being literally a fucking tree person. If that's the direction you're going with this, because that's the direction I feel you're going, but I feel that it's not placed out in the front enough that it feels like it's being carried by the pronoun, and it might just be me, but I feel that's just, it's something people would see, and whether it is, again, you being heavy-handed or not, it's that 80-20, where only 20% of people will see it come out as a natural thing, and 80% of people will see it as a heavy-handed woke agenda. Oh yeah, definitely. Would also set in stone that gifts can have physical alterations to people. Exactly, and that's another depth to it, that, like, your gift can be a curse in the fact of, you know, you can wind up being, like, the thing. Where it's like, because, like, a huge part of the thing, right, is human connection. How do you have a human connection when you literally don't feel like you're human anymore? You don't have that physical connection with someone. Or someone like Superman, who's so strong that, like, having a connection with a normal human, he always has to be holding back at every point. He can never let himself go because he might accidentally break the person by hugging them, right? It's like adding that aspect to your story is such a powerful way of humanizing characters that are over the top like that. And I think that would be a great thing to capitalize on with Kira. Is your story going for My Hero Academia or X-Men? Kind of a mixture of most superhero things. Yeah, it's got a nice mix of different things in it. And it's got the soft world building where I don't think, Dnaught, you've explained if it's a genetic thing, if it's like The Boys where it's like a chemical, but you have shown that there is a chemical that has been shown to amplify your gifts, which makes you wonder, okay, gifts have to be somewhere on a genetic level with something if you can have a chemical that alters them in some way, right? Kitchen sink superheroes, I'm with it, let's go. and it's like The Boys in the aspect of heroes being like political figures and being media figures and not really helping people, and I really love that take on the hero world, right? Where it's like you see heroes that are real heroes that are not treated like heroes, and you see people that are not heroes that are treated like real heroes. And then you have the character's ethical dilemma of, do I want to be famous or do I want to help people? So it does get explained eventually where gifts come from. Isn't explicitly stated in world, people just have theories. Okay, and I like that soft world building idea, because you never have to tell people, right? Black Noir did nothing wrong. Black Noir, oh my god. Jesus Christ. It's the brutality of it. Fucking Black Noir, that's so sad. So sad, motherfucker. Oh my god. Crazy character arc for that. Oh my god. Anyways. To my left, in one of those painfully uncomfortable looking chairs, was Steph. Her boots were kicked off, her blue hoodie half zipped, one arm tucked under her head and the other still curled protectively across her chest. She looked pale and tense, even asleep. And across the room, leaning against the wall and scrolling on his phone, was Elias. And another thing is, like, have you been in hospitals before? Because with epilepsy, it used to be, until like 2.5 years ago, a common thing for me. And like, this feels like a lived experience. I hate hospitals and doctors a couple times, not very much. Really? Do you like shows that are like medical shows or stuff? Do you have like an interest in that? Or is this just like coming straight from you? Because like, this is probably just the way that you're writing the character, but it's like, I feel like I'm in this fucking hospital room and all I can hear is beep, 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 beep. I'm just like, fuck. It feels so real. Oh yeah, I'm a big fan of those shows. 9/11, 911, The Rookie, but I'll take credit as well. Okay, because like, this feels like you really put like this character in this position. Like, you knew how this character would feel being in this position as if you had been there before. And that feels like this is a researched or a lived experience. And the fact that it feels more like a lived experience and it's like a research experience goes to show how well you're writing this character. That it can feel like a lived experience, that's how well you've researched, or your passion has led you in the direction of that ability to set the scene. Of that scene. And the atmosphere. And just the small things, right? Like, waking up, seeing your loved ones in the room is such a powerful thing of like knowing there's people there that care for you. And as someone who's like, it might just be a bias of, as me being someone who's been in the hospital more than fucking 100 times, for like overnight stays, let alone just daily stays, is fucking powerful. That waking up and seeing your loved ones there. The ones that, the reason they're there is because they never left. It makes like that moment when like I've had it when you wake up and no one's there and you're like, oh no, and then 3 people come back from like grabbing something from a vending machine and you're just like, that set of relief of just knowing that there's people there for you is so fucking powerful. And across the room, leaning against the wall and scrolling on his phone, was Elias. I blinked. Yup, still there, brooding in 4K. Weirdest slumber party ever, I croaked. Kira jolted upright like someone had zapped them. Leo, holy crap, you're awake! Don't yell in the hospital, I mumbled, my throat drier than sandpaper. Steph stirred next, blinking sleepily before standing. Leo? Hey, sis. She didn't say anything for a second, and she exhaled slowly and dropped into the chair beside the bed, pinching the bridge of her nose. You're an idiot! Nice to see you too. Kira wiped at her eyes, then stood to lean over the bed. You scared us, windbrain. 1 minute we're minding our own business, the next Pluto's inviting us to some top secret underground base like we're in a spy movie. Wait, Pluto called you? Steph nodded. Personally. Told me to bring someone you'd want here, so I grabbed your favorite emotional support salad. Rude, Kira muttered. Accurate, I rasped with a smile. Elias pushed off the wall and stepped toward the bed. You were out for 2 days. You lost a lot of blood. Explains the whole feels like death vibe, I muttered, shifting slightly in my restraints. And what's powerful about this dialogue is probably the contrast. You have the characters that are there that you clearly know they're there because they care for the character. Then you have the character that's there because they have to be there. And the only thing that the people that are there personally for you talk about are it sounds weird to say, but it's so on point themselves. Has one of these characters asked the main character how he feels? Because that's not the first thing that you ask. The first thing, especially in a situation like this where it's like, you know, it's different for like, if it's like for me with a seizure or something like that, you know, like it's an accident. Whereas it's something that's like you put yourself in a situation that made this happen, like getting into a fight, right? So it's like the differential between this being an accident and being something that you got into a fight comes through in the dialogue of them having this, you could say, a selfish moment of saying, you scared us, don't do this again because of us. Which is a very human response to a situation where someone you love put themselves in a dangerous situation and came out of it barely. Purely the "you're an idiot" line, yes. And then contrasted with how, Elias just gives the cold, hard information. Oh, you were out for 2 days. It's like, he's like in an obligation, right? He's there to convey and probably say something else about, like, you know, what happened and stuff like that to, like, get the main character up to speed. And the contrast between that is, like, super powerful. And it's like I say, the best way to do it is a three-way swap, right? You have a non-invested character who's there for a third-party reason. You have the main character, and then you have the main character's, like, emotional support and connection. And then you play with that, and then that can shift and move the perspective and the flow of the story. Because characters that are on the emotional support side are not going to be plot-driven characters, but characters that are there for other third-party reasons will be plot-driven and information-driven characters. And that's very important to know how to use those, because if you're using the emotional characters as plot-driven characters, it can feel forced, unless it's like, for instance, the plot-driven character side for Steph would be conversations about Pluto, and how people might know, has she heard anyone say anything about Pluto outside of their family, you know? Even in mistaken reference that she just kind of offhandedly didn't think about. And it's like, at that point, now the character has become a plot-driven character through this information, right? But if you used the characters just to say, the emotional characters to info dump, oh, you've been out for this long, it might feel out of place in this conversation. So using Elias in this way is an easy way to slip in that little bit of information and exposition between the emotional stakes to give it that flow where it doesn't feel static, and you get, because no matter how emotionally intense a scene is, the longer that scene lasts, the more normalized that feeling becomes. That's why you want to switch the sweet feeling around so much, and that'll give you a dynamic view of the scene. So even with just a simple thing like that, it's like, oh my god, this scene is so fucking good. Wait, Pluto called you? Steph nodded. Personally. To bring someone you'd want here, so I grabbed your friend, emotional support salad. Rude, Kira muttered. Accurate, I rasped with a smile. Elias pushed off the wall and stepped toward the bed. You were out for 2 days. You lost a lot of blood. Explains the whole feels like death vibe, I muttered, shifting slightly in my restraints of gauze and regret. I wanted to give you this. Pulled something from his pocket, small folded paper. A little wrinkled, but neat, and placed it gently on my chest. From the kid. I blinked. Josh? Elias nodded. I'll give you a minute. Come on, Steph said, gently nudging Kira away. Let him read. Three of them stepped out of the room. Kira, with one last concerned glance over their shoulder, and left me alone with the note. Stared at it for a second before finally picking it up with trembling fingers. Just a regular sheet of notebook paper folded twice. Messy crayon handwriting covered the inside. I'll give you guys the readable version. And Sanderson was actually talking about this yesterday. The idea of the reality of a child character's mind versus the writing of a child character's mind. And it's pretty impossible to write a child character's mind without and keeping it static and true. Because take like ADHD, turn it up to 100, and that's like a child's brain just naturally, right? At least that should be a child's brain naturally. Like curiosity and keeping it feeling authentic. Yeah, but then you have to make it readable. So there is a suspension of disbelief that in the reader's mind, they understand that this is a upgraded, readable version of the narration of a child. Right? So it's like you could say the direct words on the page of what he would say, but that may not get across the actual what he's trying to say because he's a kid. So turning it into a readable version highlights that this is a paraphrasing. And it's a great way to use like a fourth wall break with paraphrasing. So I really like that. And it fits the vibe of the story too, with the character, because the narrator is the character, so it would be his interpretation of the letter, not the exact words being written down on the page. And that's the difference between the perspective and reality. And you do such a good job of playing with that, Dnaught. Dear Mr. Leo, my mom says you almost died. My mom says you almost died saving me. Please don't die. That would suck. I don't know if heroes are supposed to get hurt like that, but you were really cool. Even when you were bleeding and looked kind of like a zombie. Told me I'd be okay and I believed you, and you were right. Told my mom I want to be like you one day. She cried a lot, but I think she liked that. Thank you for not giving up. You're my hero now. Your friend, Josh. P.S. I want a scarf like yours. Absolutely could see an 8-year-old writing that. You're really cool. I believed you when you told me I'd be okay. Like, putting the real feeling of the character into it. And then, like, the mom of being, like, And it's like, it feels perfectly fragmented. Because you can tell it's not the same style of writing as the narrator's voice. So even if it's more put together than you might think with an 8-year-old, and I have like an 8-year-old nephew and like a 7-year-old niece, this feels like something he would write me. He'd say like, Uncle Duck, because he calls me Duck, Uncle Duck, your stories are cool. My parents can't tell stories like you can. I want to tell stories. I tried to tell a story, but my parents didn't like it. What was the story about? Monsters. I like monsters. Do you like monsters? I like monsters with lots of arms. Lots of arms and fingers. Those are especially coming out of their heads. Those are my favorite kind of monsters. They're scary. Literal conversation with my fucking nephew. Oh, okay. Uh-oh. Was this my influence? No. He literally watches this show on like, it's called Monsters. And apparently it's fucked up. Apparently fucked him up. Kids shows, man. But, yeah, it's like fragmented, but it's sturdy enough. Kids say the greatest things. Yeah. Yeah. It's like, this was literally... Do I have it? Smart? No. I wonder if I saved it. Is it in here? Nah. I literally drew out what... It was like... Yeah, it's like he's slowly drawing smiley faces, and the smiley faces are getting more fucked up as he draws them, that their eyes are going sideways, they're getting like frog eyes, their mouths are going up and down, and then they gain like extra eyes, and then arms coming out of their heads, and they have like 3 mouths, 8 eyes, 4 ears, and like 6 arms coming out of their heads, and I'm like, where the fuck did you come up with these ideas? What the hell are you guys showing him? Scared the shit out of me. I'm like, do your parents know about this? I talked to my sister about it, and I was like, maybe that's why he has behavioral problems. You guys might want to look into that. It's not good. But, I mean, that's our day and age, right? But then I look at me, and I look at my sister. We were fucking devils. We were fucking devils. I didn't read that yet, did I? No, I haven't read it yet. I would have caught it, I'm sure. Me hate ads. Do you guys like ads? Because I don't. I hate ads. I really do. I don't experience them very often, though. I complain about them, but they don't really affect me, you know? It's just one of those things, right? We all agree that the direction ads are going is bad. Very bad. Especially, I was watching Asmund today, and he was talking about the ads in fridges, that Samsung's like, you know, they're putting ads in their fridges. There's a video about ads in appliances and stuff like that, or you pay for ads, you know. You're paying for Netflix, but you still get ads. Like, the way companies capitalize on everything. Like, people getting... You didn't know that, Fish? Yeah, so Samsung's... let me bring it up. No, explore. Oh, I meant to say ads, not AI. Ads are coming to a Samsung smart fridge near you. To enhance our customer service and offer additional content to users, advertisements will be displayed on the cover screen for the weather, color, and daily board themes. The cover screen for the art and gallery themes will not display advertisements. The cover screen themes may have updated with new features. Daily board theme. Samsung News widget has been added to the daily board. Examples of Bixby voice commands are now processed by the bottom of the... Yeah. News, weather, and calendar information. And soon to be... rolling out a software update in its Family Hub refrigerators in the US, adding promotions and advertisements to the idle display. $3,000 fridge. It shows you ads you can't turn off. Yeah, huge thing right now. It's like someone said they wanted to create a company called Just. S-Fear, yo, yo, yo. The worst part about Cyberpunk is truly the corporations. Yes. I love ads. True, right? I mean, what are you gonna do? But yeah. It is what it is. So, moving up in the world with things that we can't understand and do, but you know, I don't know. It should be something that is in regulations. Like, you shouldn't be able to do this with ads. it should be like, there should be a law, ads on a 3K fridge, kick yourself. Yeah. If you spend money on a product, it cannot contain advertisements inside of that product. Only free products can contain advertisements. And you have to be able to pay to remove the advertisements. I think that should be the baseline legal. Because corporations will do whatever they can get legally away with. And at this point, they can pretty much legally get away with shutting down... Like, wait till the point that the new iPhone comes out, and it has ads in it, and it's $1,000 on an extra plan to not have ads. And, you know, you're going to make an emergency call. Sorry, your service is down for ads right now. Please watch this 45-second ad, even if you're trying to make emergency calls. Please watch this ad. How about just get ads out of my face? It has to be a legal thing, because companies will do whatever the fuck they can. They can legally get away with it, they will get away with it. You have to make the laws around it. And no one thought anyone would be so morally bankrupt as to do this, and so greedy as to do this. No one thought you would need a law against it. Well, we do. So, either we're going to make a law against it, or we're going to live in that cyberpunk dystopia where the government is literally companies. And, like, there is no democracy. You vote with your dollar. Without the cyber. Yeah, because no one only 5% of the population will be able to afford to live in cities that even have technology that's at our level of technology, let alone, you know, stripping them of complete technology and being like, well, if you're the poorest of the poor, you don't even get internet service. Fuck you. We don't want you on our internet, bitch. And government is a service. Police, you have to pay for. I mean, it's treated the same way with Medicare, right? It's kind of one of those things. But that's the system we've built. Oh, ambulance. Yeah, I know that one. I know that one! $400 bill for a 3-minute ride. But anyways. Such is the world. And we'll let it get worse unless we fix it. Right? It will continue to get worse. Never think it'll get better on its own. All that evil needs to succeed is for good men to do nothing. They paid ambulance in Cyberpunk. It's called Trauma Team. But anyways. Yeah. Everything like that is like, oh, well, you don't have a high enough... Like in China. Oh, you don't have a high enough social credit? Oh, well, you don't get medical care. Oh, you don't have high enough social credit? Oh, you don't get appliances. You don't get running water.
That's because they don't have running water, period. Because you can't drink the tap water in China.
I mean, what? I choked. He called me this hero. Not a screw-up, not a sidekick, a hero. Me. I bit my lip hard and squeezed my eyes shut, but it was no use. My chest heaved and a sob clawed its way out before I could stop it. Then another, and another. I'd done it. I'd actually done it. I saved someone, protected them, got them home. He believed in me, looked up to me, wrote me a note with crayons because I mattered to him. My breath hitched as I curled slightly to my unbroken side, crumpling the note close to my chest. The dam broke. I cried, really cried, for the first time in longer than I could remember. Not from pain, not from fear, but from relief. I was his hero. Cox, I don't care what you say. I'm gonna do 2 exercises today. It's always good to do groups of 2, Callie. You do shoulders and arms, chest and back, legs and cardio. I've always done sets of 2 exercises. I enjoy this chapter. It's very personable. Yeah, and it's a nice sitting back No, I mean weights and then cardio. Well, I mean 2 things, right? Nature demands odd numbers. Do 3. Oh, I've always done sets of 3. I just like the combination. Shoulders and arms, right? Chest and back. Maybe arms and chest and shoulders, back and torso, and then, or, you know, abs, and then legs and cardio. Because I don't want to overdo myself, and I used to do it every other day. So, you know, every week it would be pushed back one day because it's 6 days of exercise. In that case, yeah, but on each individual machine I do sets of 3. Oh yeah, for each individual thing I would do sets of 3, right? Yeah, yeah. But I would do 3 sets of 3. So you do, like you said, like 9, 12, 15, right? Of, like, a certain weight, and then you up the weight by 10, and then you do less reps, and then you lower the weight, and then you do more reps. So if you did 9, 12, 15 the first time, you would do, like, 3, 6, 9, and then the next time you would do 15, 18, 21. And you would see that difference in weight push your endurance past that level. 100% that's the way to go. Yeah, that's how I used to work out. I don't work out anymore, but I used to. No idea what anyone is saying. Screw all of you, I've always done one. That's okay, Callie, you can do it however you want. It's just, I'm saying that's how I've always done it. So, I would tell you to do 2, so it's kind of ironic that you would tell me that I wouldn't say that you do 2. If you had chosen another number, then it would have made more sense on your end. But for my end, it was just a play on words, because I always do 2. So I would never tell you not to do 2, I would only tell you to do 2. And then you tell me that I'm not going to tell you to do 2. What are you saying when you say do 2? So for instance, 2 sections. Look at your body and say what sections do you require, let's say, different machines. Like for instance, you can do arms, wrists, right? As soon as you move outside of that sphere, it's like, okay, well, I'm doing shoulders. So it's like, well, let's do arms and wrists together, because those work, right? So you got arms. And then shoulders go along with that. So let's also do shoulders, because that's just more movement, right? So it's like the exercise is contained to a certain specific part of your body. So you don't overstrain a single part. And then you do, like, back and chest, because those are usually the same thing, right? And like abs, you're doing like push-ups, you're doing like sit-ups, you're doing pull-ups, you're doing deadlifts, right? And then like for legs, well, you're already doing leg day, so you might as well do cardio on leg day and it's like it's reinforcing the previous ones, right? Like you have to use your abs to do your back for deadlifts. You have to use your back to do your abs for like crunches and stuff. You have to use your chest for like pull-ups, but that's also your back. So it's like you're trying to capitalize on the most amount of things you can at one time. So your exercises are going as far as they possibly can. Because the more that you exercise a muscle, the less amount of exercise it needs to build up more muscle. So if all of your exercises are capitalizing on top of each other, you're maximizing on your shit. I used to be a gym bro, man. I had a lot of friends that did steroids and shit. My dad used to hardcore fucking workout, man. He went from being fat to being like fucking prime as shit when he was 40. Now he's skinny and like prime, but he just doesn't work out. But he plays golf. So it's just like capitalizing on those things is like the most important part. You always want to capitalize on the technique, you know? And understanding why you're doing things is super important. And that also gives you motivation, right? And that's why sometimes you won't see progress on things because of the way that you're doing something. So change the way that you're doing it. But anyways. That's why it's like I want to do a physical training arc in my book. Like the main character starts out as kind of like flabby, right? Like he was an adventurer and then he was a bureaucrat. So now he's, you know, he's kind of a little bit out of shape, right? But he doesn't want people to know that he's getting into shape. So his training arc is kind of secret in the background of him like sneaking off at night and doing push-ups, doing sit-ups, and literally using my training routine to rebuild himself. Because he knows one day he's going to have to go back out on the battlefield. And when that one day comes and he rips off his clothes, all of the readers will be anticipating, oh my god, he's finally going to go into combat. And all the other characters are going to be like, are you sure about this? And then he rips off his cloak and he's like fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger and everyone's like, holy shit, you've been hiding that this entire time? He gets his fucking great sword, marches out, goes straight berserk mode, and fucking annihilates the enemy. And it's like, you've been waiting for this moment the entire time because you've seen the character's progress and you've seen their motivation as to when they know they need to do this. And you're gonna be sitting there like, this is the moment! This is the moment! He's gonna finally do it! He's gonna do it! Yes, he fucking did it! That's literally what I want to get from the reader at that moment. That's like the build-up of like the entirety of Garuda, right? Because as Garuda's falling, the reason Husai stays behind is because he can finally get to that moment of like, oh shit, if I don't interact, everyone's gonna fucking die. And he's just taking fucking everything out he can, right? And it's just like, that epic power moment that today's shoulders, triceps, lats and dressed, but I can't do chin-ups because my family is asleep. I see, Callie. But I want that moment to hit so hard for Garuda because it changes the entire mood of the story. From relaxed, we know what's going on, we are information seekers, and I am training these people, so they are struggling, but the only reason we are struggling is because I'm putting these people in places that I know that they can win in, but it is not going to be an easy win. And I want them to be able to think for themselves and to build themselves up. And then I can watch the progress from behind being like, yes, they understand because they have... There is one thing to tell them and there's another thing for them to experience it themselves. And this would be the tone shift of Husai now taking command and doing what he needs to do. And then it'll hit even more in the breaking of him with Zaid. And this is where you get inside of the character and you go for this emotional roller coaster that has been kind of building in the background but hasn't really come to the front yet. And just imagining it in my head, I'm just like, I hope I can evoke that feeling in people. That's literally all I want. I want other people to feel that feeling. And if I can't do it, I can't do it. That's the hope, though. That's the goal. That's what I'm aiming for, right? That's my fail or succeed moment of the book. Is that those 3 chapters hit as hard as I want them to. And you're just so invested you have to keep going. It's the Order 66 moment. Where nothing will ever be the same again. And I think that's a really interesting story arc, considering the fact that we are in the mentor's perspective. And it's not the death of the mentor, it's the death of the pupil. Through the mentor's actions. And as we've shown over this last couple of chapters leading up to this, Husai's flaw. I had an Order 66 moment in chapter 7 of my first book. It's a great changing of the status quo. It's an amazing thing, and it's all through reveal of information and a single event. And the more contained you can have that, yet its ripple effects cause the entire story to flip on its head, right? We go from the home being the tree No. Something, not necessarily a genocide fish, but something that flips the entire status quo of the story on its head. Like, for instance, in my story, the home of the adventurers is the tree. So, everyone's families are in the tree. You can only leave the tree if you're an adventurer. So everyone's roots and ties are in the tree. But after the defeat of Garuda and the looming Beastman War, the people have decided they don't want the adventurers in the tree anymore. So the tree goes from becoming the place that everyone is now going to retreat to, that you're like, okay, the Beastman War's returned, everyone can go back to the tree and regroup. No, everyone got kicked out of the tree. You don't have a home anymore. You have nowhere to go, and you know that looming force that just fucked you up is on its way to you. And the only thing that's ever stopped it in the past is the tree, the place you just got fucking kicked out of. Now it's all on you to go out in the world and find a way to defeat those fucking guys that you just got slaughtered by. That's the status quo changing. Plus you find out, oh, the guy who we thought was good is actually, like, the leader, who you think is kind of neutral, but, you know, he kind of helps out at the beginning, and, you know, you're like, well, this guy knows what he's doing, he's good. He's actually fucked. Protagonist got possessed by big bad villain dude and ended up massacring a village that took him in. Lady that reviewed the book said that chapter made her cry. Book was mid overall, but I'm glad it got the emotional punch I wanted. That's so brutal, Dnaught. But I will say that's overdone. With your writing, I can easily see you having pulled it off, but it is very cliche. Not to say it's not good, because cliche is cliche for a reason, right? It's because it works. It's just you got to put your own uniqueness on it, right? It's like in the Wheel of Time, the idea of the dragon, the power driving them mad to the point they kill all of their loved ones, and they just basically fuck up the entire world, and they do it without realizing that they're doing it, right? That lady who reviewed the book said, I already read that, I'm so retarded. Oh, it's very overdone. The story itself is inspired by Arthurian stuff. It's an alternative take on the myths. You know what's funny about that, Dnaught, is that's the same as the Wheel of Time. The sword that's not a sword, from the stone that's not a stone, by the chosen one from peasantry, raised from peasantry, but is actually a knight, or of royal blood, that's been hidden from him, with, like, all the classic, like, names thrown in, just with little twists. Like Marilyn instead of Merlin, like Moiraine instead of like Morgana, right? Like small tweaks to that, but it's still like the sword. It's pulling a sword from a stone. Sword no one can touch. He has to take from the tower, the White Tower. And it's like the prophecy that says that this will happen one day by the Dragon Reborn. And then it's like the fight against the Dark One in the way of, do you become that evil that spreads across the land, right? And how did you become that evil at the end of the day? Kind of like with like Paul Atreides in Dune, how his prophecy and his power led to literally like galactic war. So it's like, again, don't be afraid to use something because it's overdone. Be afraid to use something that's overdone and not add your own twist to it. Yeah, I was setting it up as a prequel to the myth. The second book was going to be focused on a war between the protagonist's nation and the nation of Camelot, with King Arthur's name being a pretty focused character. And it's so cool to do that because people love that kind of lore. I found a cool anime! What is it, Callie? What is the anime? A soft knock tapped at the door. I scrambled to wipe at my face, like the damage hadn't already been done. My eyes were puffy, my throat raw, and I still had the death grip on Josh's note. I would... I'll probably go back to Adventure at Libra as my magnum opus. Yeah. My pride and joy. Hell yeah. I would emphasize here failure. Not. Because with this sentence, I imagine him, you know, going like this. But his, like, arm's broken, he's in, like, a cast. So I feel it kind of, it should be, like, an attempt, but he's like, oh, I know I can't do this, and his face is just fucked anyways. He's kind of like, oh, yeah, like, I barely was able to open the note. There's no way I'm going to be able to clean off my face. And then kind of run with that with it. The door opened slowly, and I stepped in. And in stepped Pluto. Of course, all the people you don't want to fucking see at this moment. I love it. And this is what I love about falling in love with the character. Is the investment in the character. Is like, you want to see Steph come through that door and comfort him. But you don't, because it's a story, and it would be more interesting if it wasn't Steph who came through that door and comforted him. And you're like, no! And then you're like cringing and embarrassed because you feel like, oh no, if that was me, oh, this is the last person I want to see. I'd rather even have Elias see me like this. Doc, remember that PNG tuber I won? Yes, Kelly! By the way, Doc, I've sent a sneak peek of one of my god's official artwork. Sent it in Brainstorm. Oh, nice. And Callie, did I miss your message? My status as an assassin obviously exceeds the heroes. Is that the name of the anime? Gotta love anime style titles, guys. Translated from Japanese. She works on it. She's working on it tomorrow. Nice, Callie. Hell yeah. Guys, if I had a PNG, if I was a PNG tuber, you know what my PNG would be based off of? I can't remember what the fuck his name is. But this guy. The rat bandit, this guy. If you ever watched Dreadwall, this guy would be my, I guess I'm not gonna get a picture, but yeah. The Rat King. Ah. Okay, one of the most brutal scenes. So this is a kids show. So this is this, oh, I wonder if I can find the scene. Redwall show tickle scene. Oh, is it this one or this one? No. Okay, so well, this is down the same idea, but they basically have a guy hanging from, like, one of the guys like he's holding on to like the top of the wall, right? And it's like 40 feet up, and they've got people tickling his armpits with feathers until he lets go, falls down, and dies. It's like one of the most memorable scenes I have about this guy that made me fall in love with this villain because of what he was willing to do to his own men and stuff like that. It was just such a powerful fucking scene, and it just establishes the treachery and the willingness of the enemy, that he's not going to chop off your head. He's going to humiliate you in your death. It's not just death by death. It's death by pure humiliation. And usually through your own will. Like, what is your willpower? Can you sustain long enough? And then he just keeps increasing the time and moving the goalpost until you fucking die. And then he just laughs at you. It's like, oh my god, I love that kind of villain. No holds barred. Yeah, exactly. Holy, I have to exercise now. Okay. But yeah, so it's like just... That's such a powerful message. And it's like, that's what I miss as like what kids stuff has nowadays. It doesn't have depth to it. I learned my morality through that because I know this guy is bad and you shouldn't do that. Like, only if you're a psychopath kid do you look at that scene and you go, I like that guy because he's a good guy. No, you look at that scene and you go, that's deep, that's dark, that's fucked. I like that guy because he's willing to go when bad guys are, like, bad. Yeah, and it's done in a way that's, like, respectable. Like, they don't show him falling. Like, they show him falling, they don't show him hit the ground, right? You hear him hit the ground. You know what happened. He's never seen again, but they don't show the death, right? Owl House is a great villain. He's just blatantly evil, sure. But he has a lot of depth in history, and his history is fucked. Too bad Disney was too much of a sissy. So they had Owl House canceled. Lame. They legit curb stomp him to death in the last episode. That's fucked, Dnaught. I love it. And it's like we were saying earlier, it's the difference between the story being driven in that direction and something like The Last of Us Part 2, where it feels the author or the creator had a strict direction and they weren't, by the way, were you able to check the design? Oh. For the Void. Hell yeah. I don't know why purple is void, but purple and black just means void. You can't get away from it. It's too cliche. Because it fucking works. It's divinity in darkness. That's the way I would describe it. It's like divinity in darkness. Whatever the opposite of divinity is. Just looks right? Yeah, it just fits. It's what it's supposed to be. That's like that. That's what I would have, like. That's what I would imagine, hands down. Entropy incarnate. Yes, Sean. True. True. Anger is red, sorrow is blue, void is purple. Yep. Couldn't agree more. Blue's my favorite color. An incarnation of entropy would want to destroy all light, so none can see how hideous it is. Or, Sean? Or slash and, because we were talking earlier about revenge not being, like, enough of a thing, right? Which makes you think maybe Anima needs more to him than that. But he is a child, right? So it's like, the difference between this situation, I guess, is a grown man versus a child. Right? Do you guys think it's viable that a child would spend the rest of their life trying to get revenge, but an adult at some point has other things? So the fact that Anima is a child in this celestial state is like a child with god powers, where he's immature, and that's what makes him rage incarnate. I gotta go. Gonna hang out with my friend before he leaves to Europe. Thank you again for blessing us with this wonderful stream. I still can't believe how great it is to be with like-minded people. No worries, Ninja. Enjoy. Have great fun. And, yeah, that sucks that he's leaving to Europe, or is he, like, leaving, or is he, like, going on a trip? Because that would suck if it's, like, his last day and he's, like, moving. That would suck. I feel that, man. But yeah, there's a certain, like, way to go about it, right? That makes it more impactful, having the level of consciousness and the maturity of the mind play into the depth of the role, right? To be consumed by it. But to be consumed by rage as a child is a lot more believable than to be consumed by rage as an adult. So I think it does well in that aspect, even though it's kind of the same thing as, is revenge really a strong enough motivation for this being to eat all of existence and go to all of these lengths? Quick revenge is a non-event. The moment your brain stops functioning, so did you actually get your revenge? Yes, the target is gone, but it wouldn't satisfy anything emotionally. Cold vengeance is plotted and took time. Yeah, because, Sean, Anima wants to eat all of existence because that's the only way to prove that he has killed the entity that ate his mom. Because he doesn't know who did it. So the only way to make sure is to just eat everything. And have nothing left. And to me, that's a very childish, immature, immediate emotional outcome. Which I think fits perfectly with the fact that Anima is a child and immature, despite the fact of being of celestial consciousness, right? To show that, like, it's too early in this being stage where it hasn't learned the things it needs to learn in order to exist in the world. Plus, if everything gets reincarnated, then Anima is trying to eat his mom. No, but Sean, that's the best part about it. The first thing Anima did was eat the rest of his mom. To bring the rest of her spirit into him. So basically, a being comes by, takes a bite out of her, and fucks off. But she's dead. So in order to gain his strength, Anima eats her. So it's like, that's already happened. But I love where you're going. So it's like, and at that point it's like, if he eats her, it just brings her into him more, right? So there's the fact of, if he knew the full extent of the spirit being inside of him, then, he would gain the consciousness. But he's so immature that his ideas don't actually rationally make sense. And that's what's so profound about the character, is the immaturity of it, the childness of it, that makes this singular rage become so potent and powerful. He's literally willing to eat his own mom, the remnants of his own mother, in order to achieve this goal that he's manifested in his mind. And I think that's what makes Anima uniquely interesting. And then his plot of figuring out, I'm not fast enough, I have to do this to get more food. And on top of the fact that he wants those beings to be out there, and he still has an inkling of goodness in him to the point, if it's his mom started the universe, and if he ever gets all of her spirit, she'll become whole and restart the entire universe again. Well, Sean, all of consciousness is a scale. So there's a universal consciousness that is actually, it's kind of interesting that you say that, because it's not something I've thought about, but thinking about it now, yeah, if Anima eats all of existence and brings all of the consciousness of the universe into him, he will, by definition, become the sole universal consciousness, thus he will be the Big Bang. And everything will restart, if he's successful. I've never thought about that. So the universal consciousness that everything's split from is using Anima as a vessel, and now we no longer only have revenge as a reason for this character, even though revenge is the purity that was twisted, and that was the outcome, but then that outcome was taken advantage of by the universal consciousness as a way to bring all consciousness back into one. Holy fuck, this is why I love talking about my story and the ideas in it. Because I look at something I don't have enough depth in and I say, why don't I have enough depth in it? What can I make more in-depth about it? Then I have a conversation like this, usually with myself, and I wind up at this spot where I'm like, it makes sense on the child, like, I use the justifications, but even with the justifications, it still makes sense to have something else driving the background. And to have just that inference that there's a universal consciousness that's, the entropy itself is the universe bringing consciousness back into one entity. And hopefully there won't be another anima in the next version of the universe. Yeah, and it can expand on that rage. And the purity and the core of anima is still that childish rage and anger and hatred. But the way that he wants people to live. Like the fact that he wants species to be literally utopias that only procreate, create more of themselves, and evolve into greater beings. Sure, that'll make him so he has more food, and that's a justification, but it also means we are advancing and creating more consciousness so that the final consciousness that we create when everything comes together is as evolved as it can possibly be. And then you just keep doing that with each universe, making each universe start as a new game plus. And that just gives even more depth to the idea of the universal consciousness, and the theme of the story in and of itself is consciousness. So, hinting at that in the background, a universal consciousness and bringing all into one, and that consciousness being a driving force in the same way that Gaia is a driving force to Husai, and use that as a contrast of the universal consciousness is like the defined power of nature behind the consciousness of anima on a higher scale, but the same spectrum as Gaia's planetary consciousness guiding Husai's individual animalistic consciousness. Because once the universal will is whole again, it will know all the mistakes that were made in the previous attempt. The universal will plans out a new structure to avoid known mistakes, then initiates a new version of the universe, will be the complete phoenix. Exactly, Sean. Exactly. Now I'm like, do I rewrite the ending to make it so that Gaia fails? And the true ending of the book is the universal reset? And Anima's actual success? Okay. I know it. I know the solution, Sean. I know the solution. So, for every chapter in my book, because I want my book to be unique, for every chapter in the book, at the back of the book, you can flip, like, you flip the book back around, right? And you flip it, like, you know, upside down, and you read the book backwards, like Tom Sawyer, Huckleberry Finn, right? And in the back of the book is a short story related to either a character or an event or information in that chapter. So the final short story in the book will be directly after the end. So when you get to the end of the book and you flip and the page says, on one page it'll say like the end, and then on the other page it will have the end of the upside down backward story. And then that will intrigue you to be like, oh, there's more stuff at the end. Then you flip it over and you read it, and that final short story is Gaia being defeated by Anima, and Anima consuming the entirety, and the entire universe resetting. And that's the true final ending of the book. But it's only there if you want to look into it. The good guys are fighting against the ultimate right, which is disguised as evil. Yes, exactly, Sean. Exactly. Beautiful. Exactly, yes. Oh, this is why I'm not a good enough writer in order to embody this yet. I need more. And the last year has shown me I can get there. I just need more. Just need more practice. That's it. I write another 150,000 words. I'm gonna be set to write the book. Oh. And these are things you can always come back to and rewrite later, right? And with revisions. So it's not like I'm in world building disease, but I'm curing world building disease by improving my writing skills. And then eventually I'll be like, yes, I am so ready for this. Because if you've read by chapter 1, it's fucking bad. You got the spark now, you could do it. You just needed that little hint to see what you've been missing. Exactly. And it makes the ending way more full and real, and not just a cop-out that the series is over. It ties everything back to the universal consciousness. The power of consciousness and the power of cycles. And learning from the past and being better than you can be. And that goes into the theme of the mentor teaching the apprentice, right? As if you had been the universal consciousness this entire time, guiding Husai, as Husai guides the Warriors of Light, as Gaia guides Husai. It's like a Russian nesting doll of layers. The more you dig down, the deeper you realize the hole is. It's like looking into space. The more you look into space, the more you realize how fucking big space is. And how much shit is actually out there. But just like looking at it at face value, staring into the stars, it doesn't look like there's that much uniqueness to it. It looks like everything is pretty uniform in the universe. Right? And the closer in you get, the more you realize, no, that's not the case at all. Door opened slowly, and in stepped Pluto. Not in his usual black on black funeral attire, mind you. Nope. Today, he was rocking blue jeans and a black tank top that showed off way more arm muscle than a cryptic mentor that had any right to possess. Whoa, the seeming good ending was only what Gaia envisioned during the fight, but when she came back to reality, still in the fight, she loses the fight. Yeah, and that builds on the consciousness scales of who's right, who's wrong, what right and wrong is, and what physical embodiment is, and the fact that it plays on the fact of, Sean, what does Gaia say to Husai? Don't worry about dying. Your consciousness is going to return to me. And then we'll be one. So what's the difference of Anima saying to Gaia, hey, let me eat you, our consciousnesses will be one. And then the universe saying to Anima, eat everything in the universe and all of the universe will become me. Step back. Is there any actual real difference between those other than the way that it's being done? At the start of the ending, it would be Gaia had seen it, she would make it true. Then she fails. And then she realizes that things are bigger than her, and then it's like realizing that what she's been doing to other people, someone else is doing to her. And how she's been trying to make these people understand that they're eventually going to return to her, this other being is trying to make her understand that she will eventually return to it. And again, that takes everything full circle. This is how a story evolves when the story is meant to be. And the story can only go in one direction. There is no different paths. Queen, welcome, welcome. How's it going? We're kind of on extreme tangent mode right now. But whenever I talk about my book, that's kind of what happens. But comparing it to Dnaught's, I just want to show Dnaught, especially because I don't think Dnaught knows a lot about my book. Just like the small, tiny things that you can improve on that change everything, and like my creative process to make those things come true. Not much, no. Yeah. I could literally talk for probably 200 hours straight about my world, about the characters, about everything. This is what I know. This is what's going to be in the book. Which I'm completely fine with. Because it's all basically inference off of, you know, I could spend hours talking about consciousness, or I could say consciousness is fundamental. It's the canvas on which reality is drawn. And then you talk about consciousness as creating the tools that allow drawing. How did it create the paint? How did it create the lead? How did it create the pencil? How did it create the canvas that's placed on the easel? How does it create each individual page? And then from there, you just fold with that, right? And that's where most of my stories, like, evolve from. That kind of concept of that creative process. How do we submerge into this and draw it out? And I love seeing how other people do their creative process as well. That's why I want the podcast to be about personally your creative process. How you got to where you are. What inspires you. You know, how do you use your creativity in everyday life? How do you take everyday life and use that as inspiration? Right?
The will now dance for you. Please fully enjoy this immersive experience.
And if you're like a pantser like Sean, where he just purely lets the story carry him, and he discovers things as he's going along, and goes back and revises as necessary for like foreshadowing if necessary, or things like that, it allows him to just write the story. Which is my problem. I don't just write the story. I can't just write the story. I can write other stories though, proving I can write. So it's just like, at what point is it you're holding yourself back? That's why I wrote chapter 1. And then I realized, no, I'm not retarded. I'm actually retarded. I need to fix this. And I used to do really, really heavily outlined stuff. And then I was like, okay, well, we've done heavy outline. Let's do pantsing. Let's see what happens with that.
You can rest now, babe.
And that's kind of where we are now with our stories. But yeah, there's so much shit to my story. But I don't want it to turn into 14 books. It needs to be 2 books. So it's kind of like if you played Expedition 33. It's short and sweet. They could have had 10 Axions that you had to go kill. They could have had, oh, you killed the Axions, now you have to go kill this thing, and then you have to go kill this thing, and then you have to go kill this thing. No, you just go kill both the Axions, and you go fight the Paintress. Simple, easy, to the point, boom, understandable. All completely character driven.
Get up, you fat fuck, and fight.
Absolutely game of the fucking year. Even though it wasn't nominated at the Joystick Awards for fucking game of the year. It's absolutely, just like last year Wukong was game of the year, this year, fucking Expedition 33 game of the year, hands down. Every category, music, characters, design, delivery, gameplay, voice acting, character design, graphics. Oh my god, gameplay innovation. Like, fuck, it could win everything.
Nice try, better luck next time, fat ass. Get back in that chair, you lazy ass shit streamer.
I could see that. I can't think of any other game that was talked about a lot other than 33. Yeah. And the fact that it came from such a small studio, it was just a passion project. It was a passion project by a small studio that shows that if you have the vision and you deliver on the vision, it's literally the exact same as like Baldur's Gate, right? You have a vision, you make that vision true to itself, and people absolutely love it because of that. Its authenticity of itself, right? Like, oh, this is a great point. I love this. I'm gonna bring this up because this kind of goes with this, with the idea of authenticity and like non-authenticity in video games. Yeah. So, as Asmund said, Asmongold thinks no one wants ugly female protagonists, even women. Next time you see one of the girls saying how good this character looks, give them a compliment and tell them they look like this. Queen, if you showed me this and I said, hey, that looks like you, would you be happy that I did that? We just a small studio, give money. Bethesda. Yeah, legit, Ray. Legit, Ray. Fuck. Ooh, what about Silksong? See, I haven't played Silksong. I don't know. But we'll see. Silksong is definitely a contender. I just can't say anything because I've never played Hollow Knight. I've never played Silksong. I don't know the story. I don't know anything. I just know it's a platformer. And it's apparently amazing. I don't know. I won't take offense if you said that to me. I don't know. I'm dick riding the new Digimon game. Only thing getting my vote. Really don't care how characters look. I guess that's true. But to me, it's just kind of one of those things, like, you know, it comes to that caveat of the people that say, oh, this character is, like, good looking, versus this character, like I'll give you an example. I don't remember her name, but what's her name? I don't know what the character, the actress's name is. Fucking character. Where's the actress? But anyways, so beauty is also in the eye of the beholder. So yeah, and presentation is everything. No, that's what I was gonna say, Raymond. Look at Brienne in this. And then, she is fucking gorgeous, and she is tall as, like, look, she is fucking tall as fuck. She is absolutely a fucking dommy mommy. But it's all presentation, right? She's supposed to look gritty and down and tomboyish. But that doesn't mean the actress is ugly. Right? I would even say, like, with this look, because it looks so authentic, is almost more attractive, especially to me, than, like, a prettied up face. Right? And that's kind of the point, is that it's like, you can be presented in almost a down-to-earth, ugly way and still be attractive. there is a tactful way to do it, as opposed to like then there's a purposeful way. You look at like Monster with again I don't know the actress's name, very famous fucking actress, but she looks literally like a Whittaker. Speaking of AI people, have you guys heard the AI created actress they made? Yeah, and the one they want to sign to like studios so they don't have to pay actors. Yup. It was only a matter of time. They've been doing it with Darth Vader's voice. Yeah, Holly something. Yeah, I watched Charlie talk about it. Penguins Moist Critical. Whatever alias you want to go by. The good Asmongold. The holy Asmongold. Alright. I gotta take a piss. Grab some water. I mean, there is also no shortage of male actors who are ugly or such bad looking than hitting your own mom. Alright. It was jarringly casual. He shut the door behind him and leaned against it, arms crossed, expression unreadable. I beat him to the first word. How'd you even find me? I groped. Blinked, caught off guard. I was on the other side of the city, middle of a creep abandoned hospital/nightmare factory, I added, gesturing vaguely with my good arm. Don't tell me you had a hunch. Pluto gave a small smirk. You think you don't have a tracker in your costume? I stared. Your boots, specifically, he added, and a mic in your scarf that you never turned on, by the way. You bugged my scarf? This is just a little bit odd. Like, I see where you were trying to go with this, but I don't think it hits. It just adds questions of contradiction. How is he supposed to know in order to turn it on? Hear you, like, how would he know? Yeah, how would he know to have turned it on? Like, hold on a second. The fuck is this? Someone is calling me on Discord. Should I answer? Flame him? What? I'm so confused. I have no idea who this guy is. I mean, I don't want to be rude, but... He didn't say anything, he just called me. I was like, oh, okay, I have no idea. Alright. So let's have a quick talk. Who the fuck are you? It just says no friends in common, no servers in common. Yup. But I'm wondering if he's from Reddit. If he's one of the guys who responded to my message on Reddit. But I'm like, I didn't give the Discord. Because I gave them the unlisted thing to... So this would have to be the process. They would have to go watch the unlisted video, click on my channel, find the Twitch channel, then from there go to the Discord. And then from there add me on Discord. I don't know. Who the fuck just randomly calls someone out of nowhere? I have no idea. Now he's just not saying anything. Okay, buddy guy, I don't know. I should have answered the call. That would have been funny. Should I call him? Should I call him and be like, you're the buddy guy. What is going on? What are you doing? I don't know what you are. But, no. What do you want? This could be good content. I don't know. We're in the middle of reading something here. How can you interrupt so much? I don't know. I don't even try, and the world just says, hey, no, you go. Get out. Goodbye. Friend spoke to me on Discord yesterday. It was some scam. Talked to me on WSP and told me my account got hacked. I don't listen to anyone anywhere about anything on social media. I just go along with it and troll people because I think it's funny. Alright, I'm gonna call him. And I'm gonna pretend that he's not there. I started. Your boots, specifically. Okay, yeah, right. You bugged my scarf? I call it insurance. You're such a dad, I muttered, flopping back against the pillow. Pluto shrugged, like I wasn't technically wrong. I got your location ping around the time you disappeared off street cams. I knew something was wrong. He nodded toward the monitor beside me. Good thing I did. You almost flatlined on the evac. Damn. I swallowed hard, suddenly feeling the weight of the flight all around me again. Yo, what's up? Who is this? Shattered
it's
ribs.
Me, Kenny.
What's up, Kenny? I'm Intoxication, bro.
I'm good. How you doing? How you feeling?
You're doing very well.
Oh, you seem very enthusiastic.
Oh, I'm reading a short story, right? Well, a story. Not a short story. Technically, it's a novel. What is this?
Oh.
No one said anything, so I decided to call him. I have no idea. You tell me. You tell me, Dnaught. I have absolutely no idea. I just thought it would be good content. I'm sorry that it's interrupting your reading, Dnaught. But are you from Reddit? Or do you need beta reading done? We do free beta reading for stories. Currently, we are doing Dnaughts.
Yeah, I love reading stories, but I'd like to ask, are you a streamer?
Yep.
Oh, you're a streamer.
Yes. That's why I sent the link to the stream, so you could join the stream. But instead, you called me. I don't Yeah.
So sorry, man. I never knew your life. I'm sorry, man.
No worries. I'm having fun. You're on stream right now, actually. Yeah, come on over. Click on one of those links. Come on over to either Twitter, Rumble, Twitch, or Kick. Hop in here and have some fun with us, bro.
Alright. Well, I'm a stream promoter and a channel promoter, visibility from the CGG, and I would like to work with you on your channel as well to bring more visibility and promote you as well. At least your channel is going to get out there and you get more visibility to your channel, man. You in?
Yeah, man, but the problem is I have a budget of $0.
Why?
Yeah. So if there's anything that's above $0, it just doesn't work, right? $0 $0 is almost too much, if you know what I mean. Like maybe negative. Oh, that's perfect. Like a negative $10. I could do negative $10. You know.
Lord, what you mean? Okay, you can afford $10 right now?
No. Like you pay me $10.
Lord.
Yeah. I mean, you gotta start somewhere, right? I mean, you get the first investment, you get the first payment, you like the product, and then you're invested in it, right? Think of it as an investment.
Yeah.
Right? And then from there, it's like, well, now you've got like the face of a partner, right? So then you've got something to work with. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Okay, so what you need to do now, sir, is that we very much need to go through this process. And the very first thing I will need is your social insurance number and the 3 digits on the back of your credit card. That will go good because it will go very well for you. So what we have is with the plan, we go over to this one and we say, you give us that number and then we transfer the money over to your account, right? That is how it works.
Yeah.
So what we will need is those numbers, please, very much so, and it will be a good time. But unfortunately, our system is down right now. So normally this would all be done automatically online, but the system is down, so that is why we have called you. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to go through this process so that we will be able to ensure that you are the correct person to invoke the funds. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so what you are going to need to do first is see the link that is posted in the chat. You are going to need to go there and click on one of those, and it will bring you to the stream. And from there, what you will need to do is you will need to click on the track and you will need to say, I am here. The best way to do that is an exclamation point and then here, and that will activate the macro that tells them that you are here. And when you are here, then we can proceed from there. Does that understand well, good sir?
Yes, bro.
You could steal anyone's social security with that accent? Way too good at this. Have great stream, sending good vibes your way. Hell yeah, Sierra Black. Always good to hear. He knows all my techniques. So are you, because I don't trust people that promote a product that they don't know about. So I want you to come into the stream, and I want you to experience the stream. Then from your own perspective, you will have a unique tie to it. Because when you are trying to promote, the worst thing that you can do is be generic. You want to find the thing that makes the person that you are trying to promote special. In my case, what makes me very special is prioritizing a community of people who share ideas and build each other up to be greater writers. We do beta reading and we do other things to improve our skills. We also work with art and other mediums in order to build up a better perception of how to learn, and leaving the crumbs of a how do you go from a noob to a pro at something, whether that be writing or drawing or whatever, critiquing, whatever you can find. You very much need to go up on that level in order to create yourself such a product. So my advice would be come to the stream, hang out in the stream, get a vibe for the stream, come up with something that you find about me that makes you want to come back and want to tell other people. When you think about me, do you have a story where it is like, oh, I was watching this guy the other day and he was doing this and that and this and that and it was very interesting and you know the story. You can do something like that. Does that make sense, good sir? And that way it will be more personal and they will not think of it so much as a promotion as they will a word of mouth movement to be like, oh hey, this guy likes this stuff, this guy does this stuff, I like this stuff, I will like this guy. You see how the trail goes from you not knowing to you being invested to you bringing other people in, and that is the essence of marketing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Awesome. So, hop in here on the stream, bro, and check it out, and then tell me what you think about it afterwards. Alright? Does that sound cool?
Alright.
Hell yeah. I hope to see you in here, man. On whatever platform you prefer, you know, I pretty much stream on every platform. Fortunately not on YouTube because fucking copyright issues and stuff like that, but we upload everything to YouTube. So you can also check that out. That's why I left all the links in the chat there for you, brother.
Yeah, I saw it.
I swallowed hard, suddenly feeling the weight of the fight all over again. The shattered ribs, the pain in my shoulder, Randall's voice echoing in my head, telling me he'd take Josh again. I was gonna kill him, I said quietly. I wanted to. Pluto didn't answer right away. Pushed off the door and walked over. I am gonna say this feels a little abrupt. Not? I know it pushes on the guilt. Just goes back to reading like nothing. Exactly, Raymond. That's how you do it. The art of distraction. This feels a little abrupt. I know that the character is feeling guilt and he probably really wants to say this. Like, I feel that. But I feel like this should be more of a hesitant thing. Where it's like, maybe Pluto says, like, you know, I don't know what's better. To lead with Pluto saying, like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it is better to lead with this, but maybe have him be a little finicky about it. I don't know. But it's a bit of a blur, right? I'm just... Where is it at, you know? Alright, bro, that's kind of annoying, not gonna lie. Almost like Pluto telling him he did again, in which Leo retorts with that. He did good again. Yes! Yes, not! If he's... Oh my god! That would be so... Yes, Raymond, he's still on the call. Hey, if he's on a call with me, he can't be on a call with someone else, right? So it's like I'm taking their bandwidth. But yeah, man, that's kind of annoying. I'm gonna hang up now. But, yeah, come enjoy the stream, and then we'll talk about finances and how you can finance me and where to put the money and all of that, right? But anyways, take care, bro. Dude's fucking praying in the background or some shit. But yeah, not absolutely. Pluto says you did good, and it's like he doesn't even get to finish. It's like you did good, and he's like, I almost killed him. Bro was praying to Mecca. But yeah, I'll fix that up. And then that makes him be like, don't, you know, it hits that guilt even more. Where it's like Pluto's trying to console him, but he's like, no, you shouldn't be consoling me. You should be like criticizing me. You should be telling me off. Like, like you said, heroes don't kill. And it should have way heavily on this character. My game character is my avatar, is a title on Royal Road right now. Does that strike you as a foolish title? My game character is my avatar. Wait. My game character is my avatar. That's the title? Is it a satire? Yeah, a game character is an avatar. Yeah, so if it's a satire and it's making fun of it, the title definitely works to set the mood. And you could do a lot with theming that title. Yeah, it's like saying my chai is tea. Yeah, exactly. Right? Yeah, just like that one line makes that so much more impactful. Pluto didn't answer right away. Pushed off the door and walked away, dragging a chair. Walked over, dragging a chair closer to the bed and sitting with a soft exhale. I know, he said. I mean it, I said, eyes locked on the blanket. If you hadn't shown up when you did, I would have done it. I was gonna kill him. Chai literally means tea. It's a Hindi who hear chai tea get really frustrated because it's chai. I thought chai was the name of the leaf. Well, thank you for educating me, Sean. Unless it is also the name of the leaf, and the reason they call it chai is because of the leaf, but it's also tea because that's their word for tea. Whereas we don't call tea leaf, we just call it tea. What is the origin of the word tea? Language is powerful. I know, he said. I mean it, I said, locked eyes on the blanket. If you hadn't shown up when you did, I would have done it. I was gonna kill him. And I stopped you. I looked at him then. Why? Met my gaze, calm and level. Because that's not who you are. Let a bitter laugh. You sound so sure. I've seen what you've done, what you're like when you're pushed. I've seen people break, cross the line, and never look back. So the leaves were originally called tea. Like, there was a leaf that was called, like, tea. And then they found that and put it in a drink. And because it was made of that leaf that was called tea, so there was an actual plant called tea out there. The origin tea plant. Because when I think of tea, I just think herb. Yes, there are tea plantations. I assume chai is the same plant, but the Hindi name for it. Yo! Kenny Digitals, what's up, brother? How are you? Welcome, Kenny. Sorry to fuck with you on the call there, bro. But that's kind of what we do here. We are very heavily satirical, very heavily humorous. Oh shit, Coffee Quills, more coffee! Holy shit, Coffee Quills, thank you for the raid. Oh my fucking god. Welcome in everyone. How is everyone? Holy crap. Whoa, more coffee, Uncle Tiben. Welcome. We are currently beta reading. We are reading Dnaught story. It is a, The Boys meets My Hero Academia in a way. Element Eds, more coffee. Hey, Scotty. Hey, Element. How's it going? Sorry, this will be a raid and run for me. I need to teach an English lesson in 4 minutes. Oh, shit. Oh, get on that, coffee. It's all good. Go. You got this. Waves to Sean. Thank you for the follow, Mr. Shadow Paradox. I really appreciate it. Holy crap, long time no see. Hope things are going well. They are going fantastically swimmingly. I know, I've been working on so many side projects because I'm technically on vacation from work, which means I'm like working like 19 hours a day on like projects.
700 septillion.
True. Yeah, on vacation so I can spend time making new YouTube channels.
I hope you are enjoying the stream. Less than 4, less than 3, plus 1.
2-month vacation to get my shit together so I can actually be sustainable in this. Because I was wearing myself out by doing way too much with too little time. And I want to incorporate more into the stream. So...
700 septillion.
True!
Thank you for following Mr_Shadow_Paradox. I hope
Always
you are
appreciate the
enjoying
follows.
stream.
Thank
Less
you
than 4,
so
less
much
than
for the
3, plus 1.
follow. Wish you all the energy and luck with that. No worries, thank you for the raid and thank you for the follow, Coffee. Have a great teaching session. Anyways, and anyone, if you guys are writers and you want me to read your work, feel free to join the Discord or just join the Discord if you want. And we have the Right Public Story section where if you want me to read your story, you can pop it in here. If you want to do any self-promotion, feel free to promote in here. Basically, pretty much anything that you want. I brought a lot of writers and friends of writers. Hell yeah! That's what it's all about. I love having new stories. Look at all the stories that we've got. We need more stories, though. So I'd love to beta read your stories. And according to feedback that I've gotten, people enjoy me beta reading their stories. We are currently, how many words? We're like maybe 1,000 words into this beta read and it's almost been 2 hours. So it's like 500 words an hour. Because usually we're discussing things about stuff, so... verily I say unto you, leaving for now, but since I fall, I'll be able to catch up in the future. Hell yeah, I stream every single day, because tangents and bold. True, Sean! We're gonna have an ad in a couple minutes here, but okay, back to the story. Met my gaze, calm and level, because that's not who you are. I let out a bitter laugh. You sound so sure. I've seen what you're like when you're pushed. I've seen people break and cross the line and never look back. You didn't. You held it together long enough to protect that kid. You're still here. Silence stretched between us. Eventually, I mumbled, "Doesn't feel like enough." "It never will," Pluto said simply. "Not if you're doing it for the right reasons." I stared at him. At this man who had somehow saved me twice now. He looked tired, softer than usual without the trench coat armor, more real. "Thanks," I said, and meant it. Yeah, it's like, it feels like he's taken his armor off with this. Like, he didn't have to come here in this casual wear, right? He doesn't have to treat the main character like a buddy. He is going out of his way to make a gesture towards the character, which is very important for what we learned for the motivations of Pluto via, like, his wife dying. Yeah. This is, like, the real him. The man behind the mask. The one who is a human, not a hero. Because that differentiation between the things that you have to do and the things you have to sacrifice to truly be a hero almost unmake you as a man. And only true heroes maintain heroes when they can separate their humanity and their personality from their heroship, essentially. Because then that leaves all the guilt of your failures on the suit and not on yourself. And it's like a defense mechanism. A very human defense mechanism. He nodded once. After a beat, I asked, "How's Josh?" "Hi, Mr. Shadow Paradox!" You know what's a paradox about that is we also have Mrs. Shadow in here. I don't know if she's still in here, but she was in here earlier. So now we have a Mr. Shadow and a Mrs. Shadow. Guys, whatever are we gonna do? Next thing you know, we'll have 2 Seans in here. Well, technically, actually, we have 2 Eds, because there's Eddie in the mix, and then there's Elemental Ed. Doing good, working on some references for a comic I'm doing for Drawtober. Ooh, Drawtober. Yeah, I saw a bunch of people were doing October as well. I mean, I should be doing both of them, but I'm still slowly working my way into that sphere and expanding myself outside of like the normal areas, like, you know, like for instance with like writing. Ads ruin everything. Guys, I swear if I could take an axe to ads, I'd probably do it, because these ads need to be axed the fuck out here now. Get up on that. We will have such a strike that not a man will tell his vision saw what we will describe in our ancient books with as the thing we do not say, but there will be one among us who will know such a grand thing as the name that it was brought, and when he whispers that name unto you, your knees will quake, your jaw will drop, your faith will be devoured, and that single powerful word, ads. Only it could stay lost to time. But like all good things, they come full circle. Alright, we back. Welcome back, everyone! He nodded once. After a beat, I asked, "How's Josh?" "Home," Pluto replied. Solaris took him back to his mom herself. "She said you made a fan for life." I smiled faintly. "Yeah, he wrote me a note." Pluto didn't say anything to that, but I saw the flicker of something behind his eyes. "Called me his hero," I said, and then quieter. "I'm not used to that." Pluto leaned forward, elbows on his knees. "Get used to it." That surprised me. "'Cause if you're gonna stay on this path," he continued, "this won't be the last life you change, or the last kid you save, but it might be the only time it feels new." I shifted slightly, my ribs felt like they were made of glass, and every muscle screamed in protest. "Hey," I rasped, glancing toward Pluto as he stood and gave a stretch. "Can I ask you something?" Looked at me, neutral as ever, but gave a small nod. "Randall, he said something. He called my dad Jupiter." Pluto's gaze sharpened instantly. "That wasn't a guess," I continued. He knew. He knew who my dad was, who I am, and that's not something you can Google." Pluto exhaled slowly through his nose. He didn't look shocked, but more like he was bracing for impact. "Solaris told me," he said after a beat. "It's concerning." "Concerning?" I barked to shout, humorless laugh. "It's terrifying. My dad kept that identity locked tighter than Fort Hamilton. Hell, I didn't even know until I was 10. "He's in custody now," Pluto said, voice firm but low. "He's getting treated. So, as soon as he'll... Jesus. As soon as he's well enough, well, he'll be interrogated." Sat up straighter, instantly regretting it as my whole side screamed in protest. "Then I want to be there. When you interrogate him, I mean." Pluto didn't respond immediately. "I need to be there," I pressed. "He didn't just know my dad. He said what he was doing. That it was bigger. That he's just a piece. A link in the chain. That there's more. That someone higher up is pulling the strings." How do I say? Okay, I'm trying to think of the words. The words for this. It has to do with the direction of the conversation. Yes. It's like, I don't want to say anything until I have an example, so I'm trying to think of an example for this. Probably with Leo's train of thought in the scene, I assume. Okay, so it feels like there's too much too fast. So normally I would say the dialogue in the conversation feels like it's flowing from the character. Now, what I'm thinking here is this is Pluto's influence on the conversation. So, he's trying to get some sort of information across, but he's afraid of saying too much in doing that. And, like, I'm guessing you're just about to go into is that he doesn't want the character to have the knowledge of being too much. And this also raises the stakes even more for who is this character? Why is his dad such a big deal? And I feel like it's you, like, okay, the way it feels like this is where the first time I felt that the author's hand is moving the story. I think that's the best way to say it. Whereas before it's felt very, very, very character and event oriented, right? Like, this character made this decision caused this event, which caused this character to make this decision, which caused this event. And we've been following Leo's thought and his direction. And this feels like this has shifted more to being pressed from Pluto's perspective than it is Leo's perspective. I hear you. Need to slow this scene down and help the flow. The scene Pluto feels very forced exposition, and I felt that way for a while. Yeah, like... This is why I hate holding what I was gonna say, because I had, like, the perfect way to say it, and then I was like... I was trusting you to fulfill it, and it hasn't happened yet, and I lost it. So I was trying to think, how can you solve this? What can we do to solve this? And I had a direction of lining in dialogue that I thought would work, but now I can't remember what that direction was. So I'm just trying to go back and be like, okay, here's how the conversation went. Where was it that I was originally like, okay, it needs this? Or this is what I'm expecting in the next couple of paragraphs. Because I think everything up until here, and this felt good too. Hell, I could move the Jupiter question later into the conversation. Lead with the link in the chain thing. More. 2 directions. Okay, there's 2 directions. You move talking about his dad to the secondary, and you keep the primary as there's something bigger going on. And you use the lead, something bigger is going on, connect that to my dad. Leo's dad. So start and flow the conversation with the events being bigger and who could possibly be behind it, and then end the conversation with him saying, "Can I ask you something?" And then he'll look over and then he'll say, "He said something about my dad." And then you just leave it there. Like, Pluto just nods and walks out of the room. And then the character Leo just sighs. And it adds even more anticipation to, like, what the fuck is going on with his dad? But you don't want to reveal it yet. You still want to build tension on that. So leaving off with it and taking, like, everything after this and adding that naturally into the conversation above, I think is the most powerful way to do this. Because this hits hard, but it has to be the last thing. It has to be the end. It's that as they're walking out the door, you're looking for like a yes or no answer almost. And he knows he can't talk about it. That's the right way to do it. Yeah. So, and it's like he's frustrated about it. Because he knows that he can't talk about it, other people can't talk about it, and it's always that look, it's always that sigh, it's always silence, and he says, like, the brooding in the back of his mind, but we still don't know. Oh, that's so good! Okay, I'm glad I got that all out. Then I want to be there when you interrogate him, I mean. Pluto didn't answer. I need to be there. And then that's when it's a silent moment, Pluto goes to leave, he says, "Can I ask you a question?" Boom. Leads right into the dad. End off with that. But we'll see where the rest of it goes to see how this interaction works and where you need to place that in here, right? Pluto finally moved, pacing a slow arc toward the window, his arms crossed, eyes distant. "You shouldn't have had to hear that," he muttered. "Yeah," I said. "Well, I did. And he said he'd do worse to Josh next time. That he'd come back for him. That he'd hurt his mom." My throat went tight. My hands balled in the blanket. "I wasn't trying to be a hero," I whispered. "I just didn't want him to hurt that kid again." Pluto turned back toward me. "That's exactly why it matters," he said. I blinked. "You weren't chasing glory. You were chasing you weren't chasing a camera crew or a brand deal. You acted because someone needed help. You stayed, even when you could have run. You put a child's life above your own. That," Pluto said, stepping closer, "is what a real hero looks like." I'm not, like, I know this is a thing, but I'm not really a fan of not putting... This is a personal thing for me, and I know this isn't the proper way to do it, because when the same person is talking and you continue into the next paragraph, you don't need the quotations at the end, because then it'll feel like a new person is talking, and I know that, but it just looks weird to me. So that's just a stigma on me. And that's something I need to, like, get used to and actually incorporate in my writing. Because, right, you go to the next line after a quotation. Yeah, originally had quotations there, but someone told me to remove it. Yeah, because if you had quotations here, right? Anytime you go to a new paragraph with quotations, it usually indicates another person, a different person has started talking. So that's kind of like just an understanding of how, like, the structure of, like, the basics of the reader interpretation of sentence structure and structure like that. So yeah, this would indicate that it's still Pluto talking. And this has been Pluto talking the entire time. But it just doesn't look right. And it doesn't feel right. But it's just one of those format things that when you get to... It's like having the dash in the middle of a word, because in the printed version on the page, the word cuts off halfway through the page, and you don't want to have like this gap at the end, so instead you just hyphenate the word between the two pages, and that's like a stylistic format choice, right? Just to make it smooth into the next page. It's also subconsciously a way to get the person to read the next page because they want to finish the word. Little trick. That, Pluto said, stepping closer, is what a real hero looks like. Nothing is nobler than self-sacrifice. You walked into a fight you couldn't win, and you still stood your ground. Yeah, and it's because, in Leo's mind, right? This is the difference between a hero and, yeah, you're absolutely right about moving the dad question to the end. It feels jammed into the middle of this discussion about Leo being a hero. Yeah. It feels like it should be a last-minute thought, and it should be something that he doesn't want to talk about, right? Because it's supposed to be mysterious, right? So it's like... And that just adds even more emphasis on it and builds it up even more. But it's like the winning scenario for Leo going into that fight was information. When he came out of that fight, the winning condition had changed from gaining information to making sure that Josh gets away. He never transferred from Josh getting away as my win condition to me getting away is the win condition. Which is really powerful on the character, because it shows that, like, his goal evolved with the situation. His decision-making changes with the situation. The connection to that character and wanting to save that character put him in a headspace where he didn't even consider the fact that he was going to get away. He was content laying there to die. Exactly. And it's so powerful to have that with the character, of knowing that they had never, like, because it's not that he was giving up, it's that he knew that he won. And there's a difference between showing the character that it's a resignation of them giving up, and it's a satisfaction of having won and spitting in the face of evil and laughing at it as you're dying. And that is such a powerful direction for the character, because that's what you've been promising and building up with this character's direction. And that payoff of not having that transfer to, okay, now I'm going to try and escape, is super powerful. Because most people would be, oh, I'm going to try and escape. But his mind was just so set on the footsteps of Josh getting away that that's all he thought of. To the point he didn't even really hear Pluto coming up to him. Which I think is maybe something I didn't mention there, but I was thinking about later. That that thought alone was like, he was like, okay. And then it was like blood rage. But all in his head, all I could imagine with him is, if I love you that you remember that scene verbatim. It's powerful. It's so powerful. Oh, those are the moments, and it's like I say, yeah, he was tunnel vision. Exactly. Like, I can imagine in his head, all he hears is those footsteps, while his body is just acting. And he's just thinking in his head, they're getting away. The footsteps are getting away. That's all that matters. They're getting further and further and further away. Nothing's stopping them. Nothing's grabbing them. There's no one else here. They're just getting away. And it's just so true to the character, which is great. Because when you build a character like that, like I said, you've made a lot of promises about this character. And you've pretty much delivered on every single one of the promises about the character. There hasn't been a point where I'm like, well, why did he do that? That hasn't been like just a slight bit of out of place dialogue or something like that, right? And in the end, it always winds up happening. It just winds up happening in a different way that's more powerful. Or perceived to be improved in some way, right? True as fear! I swallow hard. He knelt down a little to meet my eyes. That's what makes the greats, well, great. It's the instinct. You've got it, Leo. You need to accept that. So you'll let me be there for Randall? Be there for Randall? Pluto hesitated. First real crack in his statue face. He exhaled slowly. We're working with the police on this. Not my usual way of doing things. But with you and Solaris involved, didn't have a choice. It's out of my hands. My heart sank. But, he added, if I can get clearance, I'll bring you in. I stared. Seriously? You earned it, he said, then added gruffly. That doesn't mean I'm happy about it. You scared the hell out of me, kid. My eyebrows lifted. Wait, is that concern? Did you just admit to feeling an emotion? Stood and walked toward the door. Get your strength back before you make me regret it. Couldn't help smiling. Paused at the threshold. Leo? Yeah. Don't ever lose the part of you that jumped between that boy and danger. His voice dropped just slightly. But don't think I'm ever letting you walk into something like that alone. I'm conflicted about this. This line should be the last thing he says. No, this line should be the last thing he says. Like, it should go this conversation, the dad, and then, like, he's almost out of the door. Maybe even he does leave. And then he comes back, like, 2 seconds later and looks him dead in the eye and says, don't ever lose the part of you that jumped between that boy and danger. Holy fuck. Oh my god. That hits so hard. Because I feel like this just, it's overshadowed. And it just, notes are being taken. Good. I'm like tearing up, man. That shit is so good. Because it's like I could just, it's, you can finally see that concern coming out. But just in the slightest. And it's mixed with not just concern for him, for Leo. It's concern for, like, the hero world. Like, he's looking at like, this style of hero, like raising heroes like this, and heroes being true heroes as what really needs to, people need to pay more attention to this. People need to stop being brands. People need to stop being advertisements. People need to stop being in it for the show. And his belief is embodied inside of Leo. And that's, to me, what hits so hard with this line. Is, it's like all of the faith of the hero world in his eyes is on people like Leo. Who are the true heroes. The ones in the dark that never get the recognition that they deserve. And half of the time they die before ever achieving the greatness that they deserve. And just, fuck, man. Oh, so good. His voice dropped just slightly. But don't ever think I'm letting you walk into something like that alone. And with that, he stepped out, leaving the door slightly ajar behind him. Yeah, so move this up to the conversation. Use this as a stopgap transition as he's about to leave. Then have Leo say, "Can I ask you a question?" Then he turns around, says about his dad. There's the silence. He walks out, pops his head back in. Boom. Epic line. Nailed it. The components are there. The gears just need to be slightly tweaked. Perfect. Yeah. Yeah. Brilliant. Absolutely fucking brilliant. A couple days later, my body still hurt, just slightly less than it did before. My left arm was stuck in a cast from shoulder to wrist, like I tried to cosplay as a human popsicle stick. My ribs hated me for every breath I took. I was hobbling along on the couch. Oh, on the crutch. There was one thing I was going to say also about the dialogue, is feel free to just let the dialogue flow. As in, like, I feel like some of the dialogue is interrupted with too much stuff sometimes. Like, it's good, but some of it could be like, let's say, I don't know what to call them, like 2 back and forths. Like, Leo says something, Pluto says something, Leo says something, transition moment leads to Pluto saying something else, and use, like, the "I swallowed hard, he knelt down to meet my eyes." Use those as topic transitions. So let a single topic go through on the flow, and when you're ready to change to a different topic on the conversation or an angle of the conversation, use those movements to bridge where that conversation is going to go, and use it to angle it, and then just let them talk. Let the conversation actually be a conversation. Body movement equals topic change. Exactly. Yes. Yes. I think that would make it just like 2 or 3 parts in there. Just like squish them together. And I think that would definitely ease the ebb of it, where it doesn't feel like, because like there's so many questions that both of them want to say, and there's so many things that both of them want to say. There could even be a point here where it's like the talking past each other, where it's like Leo just needs to say this and Pluto just needs to say this, and that last line is something that Pluto needs to say, and the question that Leo needs to ask about his dad, those are like the two, okay, you need these, but everything else is, how does the conversation flow? And then use those 2 need points to direct the conversation towards them in order to create a really quick segment of conversation, stopgap, conversation, stopgap, drop. And it's just like, because then it hits even harder when and it's like you start off with 5 sentences, 3 sentences, 1 sentence, and it's like condensing it down, and it feels like that bump 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 at the end, right? And that conversation can really press that, because you want to get really personal with them at this moment, right? Like, this is an emotional connection, this is one of the few like intimate moments these characters are gonna have, right? Because it's like, it's not part of Pluto to be in this situation, right? And he kind of like with the way that Leo jokes by saying like dad is a perfect segue into like his concern over it, right? Like, he is also adding on top of that, like, I put him in this situation, I recruited him, I'm responsible for him, right? And it's just stacking all of the emotions that you need to make it have depth on top of each other, and adding to that rounded motivation where we see all the aspects of why this character is doing what they're doing. and how it's affecting them, and how they're gonna change in the future based upon this situation. Hobbling along on a crutch under my right arm, because apparently being half dead comes with a party pack of mobility issues. You walk like an elderly cat, Elias muttered beside me, steadying the door of the sleek black car. Thanks. I've been working on my limp, I shot back, easing into the passenger seat like I was made of glass. You know, really trying to nail the tragic war veteran vibe. Such a dad. Can easily lend into the you did good thing, and I can work the conversation flow from there. Yes. Yes. Exactly. See, you know exactly where this is going, Dnaught. Oh, I love it. I'm so excited. Guys, I have a confession to make. I like ads. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I like ads. I don't know why. Yeah, I do. It's because I get like 3 cents. Money. I mean, what? So I don't think I've made it a secret that Pluto is a surrogate / found father for Leo in place of his emotional abusive present father. You're building those vibes. 100% building those vibes, Dnaught. And that leads back to Pluto knowing about Leo's father, right? So the more that you press that Pluto knows about Leo's father, the more you can emphasize that sympathy towards Leo. We're on our way to the Lambert household. Wait, did I read this? Tragic war vibe. He snorted an actual noise of amusement, which was a new and mildly terrifying development. We were on our way to the Lambert household, aka the childhood trauma vault, because Steph had texted me in all caps demanding I come home before she dies of stress, which in her defense was fair. I'd saved the kid, almost died, and then ghosted the whole family except for her. Why are you the one chauffeuring me again? I asked as we pulled away from the base. Elias kept one hand on the wheel, the other resting casually on the door. Dad asked me to. Said you'd complain less if it was someone your age. I'd complain less if it was Solaris. Bow chicka wow wow. Hell yeah. Surprisingly, she never got her driver's license. If you know, you know. It's like the preppy pretty chick that gets driven around by everyone, so she never has the need. Yeah, surprisingly, sure, yeah, she never had the need to get her license because she's hot, so she can just tell people. And I love it figuratively and like literally because she has fire powers. I love that shit. Who cares if it's cliche? It's fucking beautiful. Oh. He gave me a sidelong glance. You did, boy, by the way. I blinked. Did you just... Wait, hold on a second. Say that again. I think the painkillers are distorting reality. You did good. He didn't look at... I was like, why do you say boy? I said boy. You did good, by the way. I don't know what... I just add words and say shit out of fucking nowhere. I was like, that's so weird for him to have said that. And I was like, oh, wait. He didn't say that. I said that. Fuck me. You did good. You did, boy. I'm fucking retarded, okay? It was because it's because of how I read, okay? I'm like one sentence ahead in my head, so I think it was like bye and good became boy. You did boy the way. Oh my god. You did good. He didn't look at me. I love how it's like it's emphasized as if you knew that I fucked up what I said. I love times like that in books when that happens and it feels like a fourth wall break to me. I'm like, yeah, thanks for reminding me that I read it wrong. I'm fucking retarded. Take a step back. He didn't look at me this time. Don't make me say it again. Gross, I said, but my face heated a little anyway. We rode in silence for a minute, only the soft hum of the car's engine and the occasional traffic noise. Elias didn't do small talk, and I wasn't even sure he knew what Spotify was. But the silence wasn't awkward, just tolerable, like we'd reached the mutual ceasefire. I love your drops like that too, just to remind people that this is a very grounded, realistic world. It's just the powers that people have are fantastic, right? It's just like 50 or 60, you said it's like 2100 or something like that, right? It's like 50 or 100 years in the future or something like that, kind of like My Hero Academia in that aspect, where it's like how many ever generations in the future. Like they say in the intro, humanity would be in space if it wasn't for heroes or quirks, because that changed the trajectory of basically human development and evolution. Which is a really cool way of having your world affected by that, and, like, you know, the abandonment of such grand things because you think you've conquered everything, because now you have to deal with more non-existential, well, like, planetary existential versus cosmic existential threats, right? Yeah, only around 100, nothing future tech, but there are some stands out, like holographic phones, hoverboards, blah blah blah. Yeah, and then grounded by like having this name of companies and stuff like that. Does a great way of filling in the blanks. Like if you were here, Dnaught, yesterday, what Sanderson was saying about the hollow iceberg and making it feel like you have this huge iceberg underneath the water, but you only have like these tiny little trickles, and that's because you've just used what's above the iceberg to infer what's below it. Which is how it should be. That's like the capital. That's how you capitalize on the medium of writing. That's like what the medium of writing is like meant for, is to have that underneath, right? Meant what I said before, by the way, I added. Thanks for, you know, Josh's note. Saved the kid, he said simply. I was asked to pass it along. Since when did you get all noble? He smirked slightly. I didn't. Knowing you cried makes my heart feel full. I rolled my R's. Aw, you do care. We pulled into the driveway. Oh, that's another thing, is like, hell, I make a small joke in a later chapter that a chapter is wearing Wall Depot jeans, hinting that some point in 100 years, Walmart and Home Depot merged. Wall Depot. I love it. That's fucking awesome. I could see that happening in like 50 years or 100 years or something like that. Companies verging together like Canadian Tire and like Staples, and like Walmart and Home Depot. Absolutely, I could see that. That is great. I don't think it matters, but I was welcome to Wall Depot. I love you, Hugo. Yeah, exactly, Hugo. Total idiocracy level stuff. Greetings taken to such a level. Oh, fuck. I love it. Well, you can't get more friendly than saying I love you, right? How's it going, Hugo? How are you, good sir? How's your day been going? I rolled my eyes. Aw, you do care. Oh, what I was gonna say is, like, in the conversation between him and Pluto earlier on, I'm alright, been hectic. Yeah, I feel you, bro. It would be Walton's Market Depot. Oh. I mean, there are a lot of combinations, right? More emphasis in the conversation, or at least pointing to, like, the tears on his face. Maybe even have, like, I don't know about this. I don't know. This might be over the top. But having Pluto wipe away his tears. I don't know how you feel about that. I don't even know how I feel about that. It might be too much. But, hey, it's an idea, right? Ideas are worth knowing that you don't want to do that. As much as it is worth knowing that you do want to do that. Right? But that was just a thought in my head, is maybe you could do something with that. But, you know, there is already a lot in that scene. It's like, you don't need... I think it might be too soon in their relationship for that. I see your train of thought with the tears, though. Yeah, yeah. Maybe, here's a good medium. Here's a good medium, Dnaught. Pluto sees his eyes, so he, like, helps him raise his hand. So that Leo can do it himself, but Pluto helps him raise his hand. It's like the compromise midway point. In the future, one company owns all. Disney. True, Hugo. True. So what do you think about that, Dnaught? Would that be like sufficient? Where it's like he kind of helps him raise and then he does it himself? Just to like wipe his eyes? But it's like the halfway point. I don't know. It was spiraling in my head. Can definitely experiment with it. Yeah, exactly, right? There's always good ways to experiment with it. And again, like you said, if you know that it's not the time to do it, that's better, because now you know it's not the time to do it, which means there might be a time to do it in the future. Walmart and Home Depot merge and become a subsidiary of the Disney company. Well, Disney will own everything, just like Twitter, just like Elon wants, literally, eventually he wants, like, there to be, like, a Twitter theme park. He wants there to be, like, a Twitter, like, TV show. He wants there to be, like, a Twitter video game. He wants there to be fucking Twitter fucking everything. He wants it to be a brand. So, in some ways, he wants that X to be, you know, the new thing. Which is fucked up, because if you know anything about the Nostradamus, you know, quatrains, says that, like, a new leader, X, will lead us, basically, to a new planet. And Elon is absolutely fucking obsessed with X, which is 10. Interpretation, but hey man, it is what it is, right? Crazy fucking shit. I rolled my eyes. Aw, you do care. We pulled into the driveway of the Lambert house. You are only allowed 20 free speech thoughts unless you purchase the US Disney Premium Thought Package. Oh my god, Hugo, that's amazing. That's such a good thing. You have a limit on the amount of thoughts that you can have in a day, and if you have more than that, they charge you for them, and you can buy subscriptions for the amount of thoughts that you have. Dude, oh my god, that is such a good fucking premise for a story. Hugo, are you gonna write that or can I steal that? Can I steal that as an idea for a short story? That's so fucking good. Oh my god, I want to write that so bad. You're not stealing, you're worshipping. Okay, we got it. Feel free to write away. Alright, so I'm putting you in the fucking credits for this. It's your story, but I'll write it. How about that? We pulled into the driveway of the Lambert house. Same two-story blue place with the chipped paint on the porch railing. The sight of it made my chest twist a little. Think you can get to the door without shattering anything? Elias asked as he parked. No promises, I muttered, shifting my crutch into place and cracking a door open. You picked me up? Jesus, I can't. God, I'm retarded. Why am I so fucking retarded? You picking me up? He nodded once. I'll be back in an hour, maybe two. You're the best, I said, dragging myself out of the car with exaggerated effort. And by best, I mean most tolerable plague of a human being. I'd love to see your brain as you read. No, you wouldn't. It's like 100 different fucking tabs, all saying different things at once, all talking over each other. All fucking coming up with different points, saying this one's important. No, this one's important. Well, he's gonna solve it later. Just trust him. But keep that in mind. Well, no, you forget, you idiot. You're fucking retarded. But I'll write it down somewhere. Maybe you'll get a hint at it. Here's what'll remind you about it. Remember that phrase. We know you'll forget, but shut up fucking streaming. It's like that one SpongeBob episode, Everything on Fire. I think I know what you're talking about. I don't watch SpongeBob, but I think I've seen a meme about that. It's something like, you know, everything's on fire, but you're doing all good because you're so engrossed in what you're doing, you can't tell. Everything's just fucked around you. Like falling asleep on a couch that's on fire. Took a breath, adjusting my crutch, and starting the slow, achy walk toward my front door. Let's see how this goes. As soon as I opened the front door, the smell of cooking hit me. Onions, garlic, and something frying in a pan. Yes, I've been waiting for good food and good smells. Oh my god, I can smell it. Home cooking. Which meant Mom was home. 100%. When you walk in the door after a long day of work and you smell and you just know that dinner's ready and you're just like, oh, I'm so happy right now. Yes! Such a great comforting feeling after everything that's happened. And it gives it that sense of home. Good. Indeed. Smell of cooking hit me. Onions, garlic, and something frying in a pan, which meant Mom was home. Great! Second thing that greeted me, blaring news on the living room TV. School teacher Randall Regal is currently in custody at Mercy Correctional is after... Man, can you play on words more? Not? I love it. I love it. Mercy Correctional. It, like, people be like, oh, that's heavy-handed, but you know what? That's literally how we name things in real life. And it's a desensitization. Like the Hope prison. It's like, it's trying to cover up the dirty underneath with, like, saying, no, it's not a prison for criminals, it's a rehabilitation center for soon-to-be citizens. It's a very, politically correct naming convention. And I fucking love it. Yeah, rehab! Mercy Correctional. After an altercation involving a hero. Well, the news is reporting it as a hero. But do they say... Now, this puts this in my mind, not... Are they talking about Pluto? Or are they talking about Leo? Because I'm guessing they're talking about Pluto. But I want to know what your intention with that is. Led to the discovery of a hidden medical facility. I shut the door behind me with my hip, leaning heavier than usual on the crutch under my right arm. I turned the corner into the living room and stopped. Dad sat in his did I just say saw it? Dad saw it? What the Guys, I need to smoke more weed. My brain's not working. Dad sat in his recliner like nothing was out of the ordinary. Wait, it's Monday today, guys. Is that why? Well, technically now... No, it's only 11 o'clock. It's still Monday. It's fucking Monday, that's why. Fuck Mondays. Shut the door behind me with my hip leaning heavier than usual on the crotch under my right arm. I turned the corner into the living room and stopped. Dad sat in his recliner like nothing was out of the ordinary. One hand resting on the armrest, the other wrapped around a beer bottle. It's Pluto, Leto, or Solaris. Interpretation is up to the reader, though. I wrote the line with Solaris in mind, as she is a popular hero that wouldn't mind talking to press. Oh, that's important thought there, Dnaught. I like that line, yes. And I like leaving it open-ended like that because you don't know. It's the news, right? And in this world, the news likes to exaggerate and poke things, right? So I'm thinking in my head, like, what would the difference make if you used the name? Inference. Oh, what about replace that with we go to an interview with her now, or we go to an interview with like an altercation. We go to an interview with the hero now. So it's this idea because it'll put the idea of, okay, well, if it's public facing, it's not going to be Pluto. So in your head as the reader, you go, well, they didn't say sidekick, so it's not Leo. They said hero, that means it could either be Pluto or Solaris. Oh, if they're going to an interview, the only one it could be is Solaris. And this puts more emphasis on the news being like sensationalism more than the truth. And maybe even have him make a quip about that, about like referring to it being like, you know, the news, all the news cares about is ratings. And then just like leave it at that. Just like a small little thing or something. Got you tabbed up while gaming. Hoping you have a great stream, homie. Hell yeah, Cubano. Thank you, good sir. I really appreciate it, man. Enjoy your gaming. But I don't know. What do you think about that, Dnaught? And you can add to the frustration of him being like the reason why he doesn't want to be in the spotlight. He's like, this is exactly why I don't want to be in the spotlight. They twist and manipulate and fuck everything up. Right? All they care about Solaris really is gonna bring in the big bucks for them or something like that. Yeah, and then maybe he can question, you know, her motives and stuff like that, and then that can be a an arc of them, like, maturing their relationship together, his view of her public presentation versus her private presentation, you know? And then you could have a little dynamic working with them there. Because you already had them, like, him, like, jokingly try to flirt with her because she's hot. She's young and she's hot. What are you gonna fucking do? Right? Of course, Leo's gonna fucking try and flirt with her. He's a young guy. It's natural. And it's part of his personality to have that kind of thing, even if it isn't, like, overtly flirting, right? It's just a simple compliment. But we know, like, his intentions, right? Just the way that he looks at her. But that's a lot of things coming together, right? Number 19 hero, big leagues, you know, she's here, it's the first time they're hanging out. It's like, there's a lot of things that would be, like, reasons for him to see her in, like, a different light, right? But anyways, shut the door behind me with my hip, leaning heavier than usual on the crutch under my right arm. I turned the corner into the living room and stopped. Dad sat in his recliner like nothing was out of the ordinary. You remember this shit. What the fuck? That ranking is a one-off line. I love you. That's what makes it so powerful, Dnaught. Is it so random? She's not at the top. She's not at the bottom. 19 is such a fucking perfect number. It's so potent and it says so much about her. Her drive, her potential, the way she acts in public, her reasoning for it. Because obviously, when you're at that ranking, you're going for number one. You want to be at number one, but there are going to be things that you're not willing to sacrifice in order to get to that number one. So it's like, there is something so powerful about that number that it just sticks so immediately in my head. That is like, that's the number you want of an aspiring hero that's in the front. Then you have someone like Pluto, which I would suggest Pluto's like 150. Between like 150 and 200. Right? Like he could be a top, let's say 50, but he's more focused on being the hero than he is being in the spotlight, which is like a Saitama effect where he's the C rank hero, but he's actually the strongest hero. Which then leaves potential for development of his actual strength and how powerful he is later, and being underestimated by people. So it's like all of these things all conglomerate together to make this literally the best amateur story I've ever fucking read. Hands down, clears everything else. And like with everything, there's still like improvements for getting it across, right? Because like I said, I'm an idea reader and writer. I'm like your top 1% that's gonna get this when reading it, because I'm invested in it for like multiple different reasons, right? So it's very difficult to find that level of insight on something. So even without that being directly composed in the story, the ability that you can dig deep enough to find it is mind-boggling. And it makes the potential for the story, in my mind, escalate beyond reality, right? And that's what you want. You want things to be greater and better than they are. And then when someone goes back, they usually, because this is how nostalgia works, usually go back and you say, man, you know what? Now that I've like reread it, I don't know what it is, but it's not as great as I thought it was? Question mark? And then you realize that the reason why is because the first time that you're reading it, right, is you're building the world in your head. The second time you're reading it, you already have the world built in your head. So a lot of it is built off of that nostalgia of building the world in your head and adding those things that you're like, I swear this was in the book, but it was something that you just inferred via subtext that you remember, but it didn't actually happen. And it's like, oh, well, it was because of this, and it's like a view of a character, for instance, right? And then you can come back and have an entirely different idea of that character afterwards. And there's power in that, and that's just kind of how stories are, right? You want them to be more grand in your mind than they are on paper. And you want that nostalgia to bring people back, and then to be like, the ability for me to create more out of the story than it was is what makes the story so good. And the world so good, right? And I'm sure you can say that with basically any world that you have, because everyone has fanfic in their head of stories behind the scenes of, like, IPs that they really, really fucking love. Right? Whether that'll ever come out of your mind or not. And that's just a byproduct of creativity. Right? Things that were hinted at that were never spoken of, like continuity mistakes in the lore that you could fix with this simple idea, you know, like time turners in Harry Potter, or the eagles in Lord of the Rings, you know. Dream sequences or something like that. Brain always stays creating. Yeah. And you want to facilitate the ability and the want for someone to do that. How do you do that? Through character. One hand resting on the armrest, the other wrapped around a beer bottle. His prosthetic legs stretched out like it always. The TV cast was flickering light over his face, but he didn't look away from the screen, not even as I entered. "You're hurt," he said flatly, not surprised, just stating a fact. "Nice to see you too," I muttered. Took a long sip from the bottle. "You hear about this?" I didn't answer. "School teacher turned kidnapper. Hell of a thing." Clicked his tongue. I love, and it's like they all have kind of their small things that they do. Their mannerisms that have, like, you know, make them distinct. Whether that's tone, word choice, sentence structure and dialogue, like their syntax, or something that they do. Some sort of physical movement or jitter or something like that. Sound effect, if you will. Phrase of some kind. Like as I always say, my phrase is as I always say. Even if it's the first time I've said it. I clench my jaw. "All of the people to work under," he added. "You had to pick Pluto, former vigilante." "He's licensed," I snapped. "He's been licensed for years. Only because the Paragons made it happen. Vanguard vouched it for him, and suddenly he's some kind of saint. Think I don't remember what he used to be?" He turned in his chair just enough to actually look at me. "You're playing sidekick to a thug with a badge." My grip on the crutch tightened. "He saved my life." "Did he? 'Cause all I'm seeing is a beat-up teenager limping around like he got hit by a train." Took a shaky breath, the kind that hurt going down. "I saved a kid." "You almost got yourself killed." Glad you appreciate these little nuggets of they know each other and something happened between Jupiter and Pluto. Yeah. Like I said, I'm just taking the small subtleties that you're giving me and running with the fact that I trust you as an author. I trust for those to be breadcrumbs and not, this is gonna sound like I guess this is a kind of interesting analogy. I'm hoping they're pieces of candy and not turds. So like, ooh, a piece of candy! Yep. I'm like, whoo, piece of candy! Whoo, piece of candy! Ah, it's a piece of candy, yes! That's just how I think. And it sucks when it's a turd, but sometimes you want it to suck. Sometimes you want to disperse a turd in there. 10% of these chocolates are actually poo. Choose at your own discretion. You never know. Plot droppings without payoff just don't taste good. Yep, unless they're leading to a specific area. And the more you build up trust, the more you can leave those shits. And the reader will eat them and say, I trust that the next one will be a piece of candy. And you can say, and when they can go, you know what? I think this one's a piece of shit. That's the difference. Is when you can tell. You've fed them candy. You've fed them shit. Now, they know the difference between the candy and the shit. And they know that the shit is intentional because they trust you because of the candy. And then you use that as an escalating loop to just keep people on the fucking roller coaster. Oh my god, I can just see it now. So what? I should have just done nothing? Let the kid disappear forever? Oh, another thing I want to say about Pluto is I can sympathize in a way, at least for now, or sorry, with Jupiter, for now, with he lost a leg. He knows what it's like to get your entire life fucked up by becoming crippled and getting yourself into shit. So he's actually like preaching from a position of authority, which makes him have more relatability and not just like feel like he is just being mean and an obstacle for being mean and being an obstacle, right? We've already established that like he's trying to live vicariously through Leo as a hero because he can't be a hero anymore. And he scorns the fact that his disability has caused him to not be a hero anymore. And he's kind of projecting that. And you get that sense of it, like, maybe this isn't what he truly feels deep down, this is just his regrets and all of that coming to life because that's the kind of person that he is. He's a hard ass. So he's not going to say his feelings, he's going to say what he thinks. And that's something that's really hard for a son to understand, looking at it from the position that Leo is in. But being the reader, that contrast between it and having the thought in the back of your head that that's how Jupiter is, makes you feel sorry for both of them, that if only they both saw that, they would have a really good relationship. And usually, in most things in real life, it's those small things that slowly fuck up that kind of relationship. And until both people realize that, the relationship can truly never be mended. And it only ever gets worse. And that usually getting worse is what causes them to see that, because they can look back on and say, wow, how did things change so much? Right? And trusting you as an author to lead down that direction is where I'm at this point. So every kind of path and imagining that I have, I'm hoping will be come to fruition. But the thing about that that's really nice is I'll have like 99 predictions, one will come true, and that's all that matters. Because I'll forget the other 99. As long as one of them comes true, over and over and over and over again, it becomes more and more a a press on the reader of that trust. And if you can build that with an author, that's the best thing you can do in your reading. Because it's knowing that payoff. Knowing that you're going to get what you've been promised. And slow building that is a hard thing to do, because people just want you to get into their world. They want you to get into their character. They want you to understand what's going on, and they want you to root for the main character. But being in this kind of middle ground area where the character is being pushed by different things makes you feel better. A talk between Leo and Jupiter about everything, stemming from their relationship to Pluto and Jupiter history, and his history with Randall, is planned. I trust that it's planned, Dnaught, because I would be sad that you wouldn't capitalize on something in the story that's so powerful. And if that doesn't tie into the kids being taken and the government being the way that it is, and maybe this shadow cell in the background trying to sell heroes as brands is being like pushed so much purposefully and not organically, and weave that all together. But whether you do that or not, or have Pluto and Jupiter have their own separate story with it, I think both of them, because I trust you as a writer to make a good story. If that's only the subplot, then I'm so excited what the main plot is. If that's just like Pluto's plot as opposed to Leo's plot, right? I'm a big fan of familial relationships and deep conversations, so I couldn't not have it planned. Yeah, I love that, Dnaught. Like, I have an amazing relationship with my family, and the fact of we're best friends. I do not have a good relationship with my family in the fact of, like, being a student, right? Well, I've never done my own taxes. My dad does my taxes. I'm basically a Nepo baby. And I've never really been pushed to get out on my own and live my dreams. I've always been, like, coddled and babied and been like, you can do whatever you want. Don't worry about it. And it is, like, a detrimental thing to have your parents be your best friends and not have, like, an actual, like, mother-father side that's, like, you can talk to them about the real things without it being, like, you can do whatever you want, we're not judging you. Like Yes Men, kind of. I have an amazing relationship with my father and his side of the family, but not with my birth mom. So most interactions Leo has with his parents are inspired by interactions with my birth mom. Okay. That's like my brother-in-law. I literally was afraid to ask about his dad because I thought his dad was dead. Because in 15 years, I'd never heard anyone mention anything about his dad. No, his dad's just a piece of shit. So and his dad just left when he was a baby. So no one ever talks about his dad because his dad isn't worth mentioning. Like, to the point, his dad's new wife and their kids came to my sister's wedding. His wedding. But his dad didn't. Like, kind of fucked up. But his mom is fucking amazing, and his stepdad's fucking amazing too. So, that's probably why he's so fucking amazing. And then my sister's amazing, because my parents are amazing. But there is always that, and she's a woman, so she can get through life not having to worry about it. I'm a dude. I need to go out there and stand on my own. She has her husband. She doesn't need to be, you know? She won the fucking lottery with that shit. Like every way, well, okay. Her kids are demons. My niece and nephew are demons, but me and my sister were also demons when we were, like, 4 to, like, 9. Probably 4 to 13, actually. We were fucking demons. So, what? I should have just done nothing, let the kid disappear forever? It's not your job. Kidnappings are police work. Well, maybe someone had to make it their job. That shut him up for half a second. Just long enough for the silence to make me wish I'd never come here in the first place. I turned without waiting for another jab, hobbling my way into the kitchen. I needed water, more space. Mom was already there, back to me, stirring something in the stove with enough aggression to qualify as assault. She turned at the sound of my crutch scraping against the tile. When she saw me, castling bruises and all, her eyes narrowing. No soft gasp, no hug, just a frustrated, sharp intake of breath through her nose. Oh, Leo. I flinched. That wasn't the, "I'm so glad you're okay" voice. That was the, "I've already had a long day and you just made it longer" voice. "You look like hell," she said. "What the hell were you thinking?" No, seriously. What went through your head? Did you think you were invincible?" She pointed the woman's wooden spoon at me like it was a weapon. "'Cause from where I'm standing, it looks like you almost got yourself killed playing pretend." I wasn't pretending. "You're 17. All you have is a hero complex." "I was doing the right thing," I said, quieter now. She didn't look convinced. "I saved a kid," I added. "I actually did something." Her jaw worked, teeth grinding behind her lips. "And what happens next time, huh? What if you don't come home? What if they bring your body back in a bag and I have to watch some official hand me a medal like that makes it okay?" I didn't answer. I couldn't. She turned away with a harsh sigh and went back to stirring the pot. But her shoulders, they slumped just a little, like the weight of it was finally setting in. "I didn't raise you like this," she said softly, back still to me. "You're supposed to be smarter than your father." Again, I don't know anything about grammar, but this sentence just feels weird. Back still to me. Oh, I'm retarded. She said softly, back still to me. Her back. They said back, like she was saying back, but it's her back is facing him. No, that's just me being dumb. I think that's very clear that she's not facing him. I just read it weird. But I mean, if you want to add something in there to make it more clear, I mean, you could. But it's I'm the ultimate scale where I will make the most retarded mistakes, but I will also have the most insightful calls. But I have no middle ground. If there's any middle ground, I'm fucking a blob. "I didn't raise you like this," she said softly, back to me. Because if there's no comma here, that's what the comma is for, right? She said softly, back still to me. I mean, you could even, if you wanted to, make it two separate sentences. But I don't know. You're supposed to be smarter than your father. You're the 0.0001%. Well, I mean, thanks, Dnaught. I mean, I pride myself on the fact of, I would love to find, it's kind of semantics. Yeah. But it's without the comma, it would be weird. With the comma, or a period there, it's the way I read it in my head. Because it would be read, she said softly, back still to me. You're supposed to be smarter than your father. I swallowed hard. She didn't turn around again. Didn't say anything else. Just kept cooking like that was all there was to say. So I limped over to the sink, filled a glass of water, and drank in silence. The back door creaked as I nudged it open with my crutch, slipping outside like a ghost no one wanted. I would say with the opening things with crutches, I don't know, this might just be a stylistic thing, but after 3 times doing it, first time, heavily emphasize the crutch is what's opening the door, or whatever he's doing, right? Second time, medium emphasis on it, emphasize more on what he's doing. Then the third time, barely mention the crutch and what he's doing, and then if there's a fourth time, you know as the reader that what he's doing is via the crutch. And then that gives you more mobility with wording to do other things. Yeah, it's a repetition thing. I can just cut it. Yeah, at a certain point, you know he's using crutches. You know that's his mechanism of opening things. So you can... And then when you go back to saying that he's using his hand for something, then that becomes a super powerful moment where you're like, yes, he's actually, like, getting better, right? And you can slowly show him getting better by the more things that he does without the crutch. And you can make that the norm of him acting, right? Slipping outside like a ghost no one wanted. The breeze stirred gently through the trees lining the backyard. I eased myself down onto the wooden steps with a hiss, legs sore and ribs aching. But the wind, oh boy did it feel good. Closed my eyes, letting the breeze run through my hair and rest soft against my cheeks. For a second I could pretend everything was quiet again. Then the screen door creaked. A moment later, a fist bumped my uninjured shoulder. Not hard, just familiar. Took you long enough to feel better, Steph said, sliding down beside me. Thought I heard people arguing downstairs. Glad I was right. I chuckled dryly. Great. Glad I'm predictable. She sat sideways, arms draped across her knees, watching me from the corner of her eye. You okay? Agitation is almost probably one of the hardest things to pull off. And you immediately can tell from the way that he's talking that he is definitely agitated. And it's almost like he's just tired of talking to people and he's done with this day. And I think that's like a foreshadowing of the idea of like when his mom said in that voice that it's like it's making his day longer. That's like a projection in a way, I feel. And this is like the closing moment of the winding down of getting things off of his shoulders. And, you know, just having a comfortable conversation with someone who accepts you as you and isn't going to, you know, they might voice their opinion, like she said, it was you idiot the first time, like, she woke up, but she's already said her piece with that. Now it's like the comforting, like, rising up moment, right? You've said your piece about what you think about what they did, but you don't need to dwell on it like everyone else has dwelled on it, right? Steph is just like, I'm gonna let it go. It's now, let's recover from it. Which is like a very protective, sisterly thing to do, where you want to raise the spirits. And you know that that one thing is the thing that's holding you down, so let's get away from that. And let's focus on other things. And kind of like a distraction technique. And sometimes people just have to say things to get them off their shoulders, right? So here, I'm just going to do a prediction and what I wouldn't normally do. Scotty cooks when it comes to reading and understanding characters. I love characters. I love delving into characters and saying, what can I extrapolate from this that is an, let's call it immersive creation. It was not intended by the author for it to be thought of in that way, but as soon as you do think of it that way, it's like something connects in the back of your head, like, maybe I subconsciously did that and I just never brought it to the forefront before. I forget. Do you play, or are you familiar with Genshin Impact? I'm familiar, Sean. I do not play. It's a gacha game. Excited to see if you predict where this conversation goes. I was gonna throw the prediction out right now, because I know that I'm most likely wrong, but this is where I feel like if I know the character, this is gonna be like an emotional info dump over his position of being a hero, and maybe asking her opinion about whether he did the right thing or not, and maybe self-questioning and just for like even a pinch of prodding at his parents to get validation from her, so he can psychologically invalidate his parents' opinion. And a lot of that can be done through summary, because we know how the character feels. We just need the character to tell Steph how he feels. And we know how Steph feels, we just need her to tell Leo how she feels. So I feel a lot of this conversation could be done in summary. But I want to see how you execute it. So don't say anything right now. Wait till I finish it, but that's my prediction for how I feel this should go. I just found out that Brian Hall, who has a YouTube channel, 20 plus voices in that game, he's also Dracula in Hotel Transylvania 3. Damn! You okay? I shrugged with my good arm. Define okay. Alive, she offered. Then sure, barely. I looked out toward the backyard, eyes unfocused. Feels like my body got thrown in a blender. My bones still rattle when I cough. Steph smirked faintly. Still got that flair for drama. You love it, unfortunately. We sat in silence for a moment. I didn't say anything. Didn't have to. She just waited. The way she always did. The way she had since we were kids, and I'd skinned a knee or gotten yelled at or started crying and didn't know why. Eventually I broke. I almost died, Steph. She turned to me fully. Like, actually died. If Pluto hadn't shown up when he did. I hadn't finished the sentence, and she didn't push me to. I'm not saying I regret it. I added after a beat. Because I don't. Josh is safe. I protected someone. Steph gave me a quiet nod. He wrote you that note, right? The one I'm sure is in your pocket right now. Smiled, weak but genuine. Yeah. She nudged me gently. You deserve it. People keep telling me that, but I don't know if I do. Leo. I try, I said, louder than I meant to. I try so hard to stay positive, to be better, to make something of myself, and then Mom looks at me like I'm one screw up away from being a failure, and Dad just... I trailed off, chewing the inside of my cheek. Steph sighed. Yeah, I know. It's like they've already made up their minds about who I am and what I am. Nothing I do seems to change it. They're scared, I snorted. Of me? Of losing you, she said softly. They don't show it well, or at all, really. But I think that's what it is. Nailed it! Bam! Holy shit! Oh my god. Oh my god. I look down at the cast on my arm. Doesn't make it hurt less. I know. Steph went quiet again. She scooted closer, wrapping an arm around my shoulders carefully, mindful of every injury. I leaned into it without thinking. You ever wish things were different? I asked, my voice barely audible. Well, we had parents who actually believed in us. Steph pulled back just enough to look at me. Every day. But you know what? You believed in that kid. You kept him safe. That's more than most people can say. That's something Dad never did. That's something Mom never will. I like this because you know Steph feels the same way because she doesn't have powers, right? Or at least, like, she doesn't have his powers. As far as I know, she doesn't have powers, right? I just want to clarify that. Or it's just like something that's like the fact that he has the wind powers are so strong, their potential. No powers. Okay, that's what I thought. So she has no powers. Okay. And so it's like there is that glimmer that she understands, and that's a connection that they have. They have a connection in the fact that one of them's disappointed they're not good enough at using their powers, and the other one's disappointed they don't have powers to begin with, so they couldn't even try. And the fact that their parents, you know that's how some parents are, and they just don't know how to act, but their love kind of warps the way that they treat their kids. And that is a net negative. But that's super human. And like you said, that's something that you're drawing a personal experience from that, right? Whereas we were talking earlier about you having a research presentation. This, I think I've commented on it before, the familial connections feel real. And I think I've asked you, like, the kind of connection you've had with your family. Even before this. Maybe not, but I've thought about it. Like, that you can tell that the connection and the understanding with the familial family is, and, like, the surrogate father of Pluto is kind of a lived experience. And again, if it's a research experience, it's damn good. But it sounds like it's a lived experience, like you said. So, that keeps it even more concise. She pulled back just enough to look at me. Every day, but you know what? You believed in that kid. You kept him safe. That's more than most people can say. It's more than Dad never will. Something Dad never will. That's something Mom never... Dad never did. Mom never will. I opened my mouth to respond, but instead my voice cracked. A sob clawed its way. Fucking ads, man. We've been at this for 3 hours, but... There's so much to say about this story. And I'm so invested in it. And you know what? I feel bad that I haven't gone this in-depth on anyone else's story. 3 hours of great feedback and thoughts. And, like, that's to me what makes this story so good, is that every turn, over and over and over again, I'm just like, it's mind-blowing. And it just makes me think. It gives me ideas. Whereas, I mean, again, everyone else's is, like, good stuff. I thoroughly enjoy everyone's story, especially Sean's. But it's like, even with, like, my critique with, like, Sean's main story, like, it felt too, it felt too slice of life, which isn't down my alley. So it's like I wasn't as invested in the story because I wasn't invested in the character. But I've also been learning as we read through this how to be a better beta reader, how to give better feedback. What am I thinking? Why am I thinking this during it? So I'm trying to get better at giving that feedback during the stories. And then it's like most of the feedback I think to give back to Sean, I've already given the feedback to Sean. So, I mean, there's redundancies there that I could do. But every time I'm like, oh, well, we talked about this in this other story, so I figure he knows about it, so he'll improve it in the next one. Right? Or it's like, I can tell here, this is an improvement from last time. Right? And I think I've mentioned that a couple times, Sean. Like, the conflict level, the betrayal level, the getting into the character's headspace and using their knowledge and that as their advantage to make it plausible for why they're so powerful, as opposed to, like, just having the nature of the land and learning to use their powers, I think is just a much more interesting story arc. So I think Treehouse Isekai is definitely stronger than those. 3 hours of great feedback. Yeah, it's gonna be 4 hours. Jesus. Sob clawed its way out before I could stop it. Sharp and ugly. I turned my face away, but Steph didn't move. I'm so tired, I whispered. And the tears came fast after that. I'm so frickin' tired of being their disappointment. Steph didn't say anything. Just pulled me closer and let me cry into her shoulder. I almost died. And they didn't even say that they were proud of me. I choked out. They just looked at me like I was stupid. Like I asked for this. You're hitting... There's like 18 nails lined up. And somehow not... You're hitting like 42 nails. I'm like, oh yeah, there's this. Oh yeah, there's that. Oh yeah, there's that. I thought I had a good concept of this. Oh, we made it even deeper than that. Oh yeah, that's right. It's like, oh my fucking... At every turn, there's something new that I'm like, oh yeah, this is an angle I didn't think of. Holy shit. Okay, when I think about it in that angle, added everything, it's like, everything's multiplying. We're in the hundreds of trillions of septillions right now. We're gonna be at vigintillion soon. Considering that Dawn was a rewrite from high school with little change, I think it's a big jump. You could consider Dawn as the first one, Cat version as the second, and this the third. Yeah. That's why I didn't really want to talk about Dawn. I want to talk more about Cat version. I meant more of Cat version. But it does leak in there with it, because Dawn has kind of the same feel to it, whereas cat version feels more flushed out. It's not nails, it's bricks. Think of those bricks laying videos where the guy places the final brick and then all the bricks fall into place all at once. Oh, okay, yeah, Sean. I see. Yeah, exactly. See, Sean's great at explaining things in layman's terms super easily. I'm great at, like, abstract extrapolations with examples. Sean's just like, this is what it is. Hit the nail on the head? No, 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 no. You're laying bricks. Oh, dude, yes, laying bricks. That's a way better metaphor. And then being precise with them and lining them all up just to be like, flip, domino effect, the wall is done. It's like, oh, mind-blowing. Steph didn't say anything, just pulled me closer and let me cry into her shoulder. I almost died, and they didn't even say they were proud of me, I choked out. They just looked at me like I was stupid, like I asked for this. Steph rubbed my back gently, whispering, "You didn't. You're not stupid. You did something incredible. Doesn't matter," I sniffed. "They'll never see me as good enough." Then, another pause, then, "Do you think," my voice dropped almost nothing, "do you think they'd love me more if you were the one who had powers instead?" There it is. There it is, not. Ooh! The core question that I have been wondering since the very beginning. Is the reason Leo holding himself back is because he doesn't believe he's worthy? Ooh. Ooh, that hits. Fuck, man. This last conversation with Steph is kind of predictable, but I like it because this is one of the first times so far in the story that Leo's true emotions are only shown to Steph. Or not only shown to Steph, but to the reader as well. It's predictably genius. You did, in actual dialogue, what I thought was only possible in summary. Because to choose the words to make this impact is super, super, super fucking hard. And I've been in a lot of places like this with, like, you know, my family members and stuff with my seizures and stuff being like, dude, this could have been the last one. You could have literally not woken up this time. So it's like, I've been in these situations, and then it's like, my parents get to the point of annoyance of being like, can you just stop having seizures? So it's like, I've literally had this, like, conversation with my sister of being like, not so much, you know, would they love me more if I didn't have seizures, but it's like, do they resent me because I have seizures? Do they think that I'm doing it on purpose? There's always that idea in the back of your head. And as a parent, it's so hard to put up the mask to make that not see through. And my parents did a great job of it, but 10 years? 10 years is a long time. Eventually, you get jaded. And it fucking sucks. But having someone who's not jaded, who's seen through it from a different perspective of, you know, only mediocrely, but not, like, literally they weren't the ones that were always there spending every night in the hospital every time. You know, they came, like, once in a while when they had the chance. But so my parents are there every fucking time, all of the time, no matter what. For 10 fucking years. That wears on you, right? So, a lot of this story I resonate with because of the character relationships, which is fucking amazing, and that's what makes it feel so real. So like I said, I am extremely biased to this story. Save that video link so you can add it to trigger commands for when viewers see that a person did the track in their writing, like this. trick in the writing like this, all these little tidbits all falling into place at one time, such satisfaction. I will do that, Sean. So this is like, literally, I've had this exact same conversation with my sister. And holy shit. Steph pulled back, eyes wide. Leo, I mean it. You're everything they want. You're smart. You've always been the good one. If you'd have been the one who inherited Dad's gift, maybe they wouldn't be so disappointed. She stared at me, horrified. And then her expression softened into something else, something sharp and aching. That's the look. The like, and it's almost like the horrified look is that realization that, oh my God, how could you ever possibly think that way? And how long have you been thinking that way? I need to change the way that you're thinking. And that's where the softening of the look goes, like, okay, let's work through this. Let's figure this out, right? Something sharp and aching. No, she said firmly. Don't you ever think that again. But don't. She took my face in both hands, gently but steadily, making me look her in the eyes. You're not broken. You're not a mistake. You didn't ruin anything by existing. I blinked, more tears spilling down my cheeks. She leaned her forehead against mine. You saved a kid, Leo. You came home. And you're gonna save more. That's all you. Powers or no powers. I'm proud of you. You hear me? I nodded, not too full emotion to speak. And if Mom or Dad can't see that, that's their loss, not yours. Let out a breath. I didn't realize I'd been holding. My chest still hurt. My ribs still ached. We sat there a while longer, the two of us, side by side, as the breeze moved gently around us, like it had been listening the whole time. Thanks, I finally whispered. Steph squeezed my good hand. Anytime, Wendy. Oh, jeez. You know what? It's fucked up to say this, but this is the feeling. It's like wanting to have a cigarette after sex. The indulging in the pure satisfaction of the moment. Just the elation. And just the, oh, yes. It could have only been. What a fucking journey. What an adventure. Oh. Oh man. So good. So good. Inspiration to the last word. If I can make my story half as fucking good as this, I'll be happy. That'll be a success.